In the year 1997, the future is in chaos and turmoil. Mankind is on the brink of extinction. Brave survivors band together and build a time displacement apparatus to receive a signal from a parallel future. This transmission is the Wundercast.
There's one team that kicks ass. They're assembled. They're the Wundercast. Never back down from the brass. Always start first. Never finish last. Had a max speed. Bit too fast. Oh no, they're out of gas. It's okay there. Just a podcast. They're the greatest. We're the Wundercast.
Welcome to the Wundercast, and welcome to Wunder Halloween-a-thon, and Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween!
I am your host, Stephen, and with me today to conclude our spooky spectacle is my two co-hosts who have been on every episode for this 5-episode streak in October.
Woo!
This hasn't been achieved since October 2020
Wow.
when we did 5 episodes also celebrating Halloween, where we reviewed all of the many movies that we enjoyed that year during quarantine, which frankly inspired us to move into this current incarnation of the second annual Wunder Halloween-a-thon. Last year we celebrated though without any podcast contributions, but this year that's all different. And so, like I said, I am Stephen. With me today is the they of theys, the non-binary champion. I was gonna call you the trivia of trivias.
The trivia of trivia?
But I don't even think that makes sense in
That's
Steven's brain.
almost insulting in a way, because
Even
that means now I'm trivial.
Very much non-trivial.
No, you're good.
D-Rock in the house.
Yo! Very excited today watching one of my all-time favorite movies. Like, really, like, in terms of, like, pure favorite with no added objective, like, perspective on it, this is, like, one of my top 5 favorite horror movies.
Whoa. Today's a special day, especially for
And
D-Rock.
I watch it every Halloween. It's a tradition for me.
Damn, that's intense.
That-
That is
that-
not how I feel. Hi, I'm Danny. I think I watched this once.
And the cohortress
Yes,
is in the house.
I am.
The beautiful, the wonderful, the spooktacular, the has rice on her chest.
Woo!
And Katie's on her sleeves.
Kitty.
Danielle is in the house. So Danny, your history with Halloween was 2007?
This is 2007, yes.
2007. So you were in
I think I've
college.
seen this once.
So you haven't seen this since you were in college, most likely.
Did I even see it in college? I may have seen
It
it
might
years
have been.
later. I honestly don't remember anything about it except, like, one. I think I kind of remember him in the mental hospital. That's it.
Yeah,
That's all I remember.
yeah.
That's
Probably.
That's all I
Probably,
remember.
yes. Yeah, it is aesthetically very Rob Zombie.
Yeah.
But it also has redeeming qualities that I'll get to in a
That-
minute.
No, I don't know. I'm rewatching it now. I'm gonna rewatch it with fresh, like, open
Yeah.
mind. I'm not anti it. I'm just the Halloween franchise is not my favorite.
Mm.
And
Even the original.
my favorite
right?
Halloween is Halloween 3,
Halloween
the
3.
one that has nothing to do with Michael Myers.
Yeah.
I think we very organically on the podcast.
Mhm.
I'm a Jason guy.
Mhm.
Danny's a Freddy
I am a Freddy
kind of girl,
Yeah.
and you're a Michael Myers.
Yeah.
I'm very Michael Myers, yeah.
You know?
Well, I mean, in terms of, like, all the movies, like, whatever, but like the original, both Rob Zombie versions, I've been enjoying the new ones, but I prefer the Rob Zombie remakes.
So although we're celebrating Halloween right now, at the time of this recording, the audience has seen Halloween Ends,
Whoa.
and we
yeah.
have not.
That's
Oh,
right.
Wow.
So, to celebrate the end of the Halloween franchise and the last movie that will ever grace Michael Myers ever
Yeah.
in the history of humanity,
Totally.
Totally,
definitely.
yeah, definitely.
we're gonna go with the reboot.
We'll believe that.
Yeah, man.
The first reboot. What's weird is that I bet you, what if in a few years people are gonna get nostalgic about this movie and they're gonna want a Halloween 3.
It was,
a new ending.
that would, oh my god, you just set me off in all different directions.
Oh no.
But the thing about Rob Zombie's Halloween 1 and 2 is they're a complete
They're
story.
a complete story. Yeah.
But the original Halloween 3 had nothing to fucking do. So imagine a Rob Zombie Halloween 3 that has nothing to do
with
anything relating to Michael Myers.
But a lot of people
that's
who
an
are
idea.
He
no,
could
but a
do
lot of
some,
people who are Halloween
psychedelic
purists hate that movie.
Halloween 3, of course, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's been
They hate it.
That's why it's got this cult status of people. They're like, no, fuck you. This movie rules.
It does rule. Fucking yeah.
It does. I agree.
Fuck you.
I saw this movie in theaters.
Whoa.
Really, I didn't see it in theaters.
And yeah, I saw Halloween 2 in theaters.
Oh wow.
I was there at Ground Zero.
I had to wait to see this because when I was told it was Rob Zombie, House of a Thousand Corpses traumatized me. So I was like, ugh. So I now when I rewatched it, I realized how silly it is. But when I first saw it, I don't know, I was not in the right headspace, and I was just like, ah!
When it first came out, it had an aura
of just
where people would tell you House of a Thousand Corpses is unwatchable. It's so horrifying and scary.
Yeah.
And I've seen it so many times now that it's
no, but it's also
it's laughable to me that someone thinks it's so scary it's beyond watching.
I mean, if you don't watch a lot of horror movies, I could see that movie being fucking traumatizing.
Sure. It's just when Dr. Satan shows up underground.
Right, yeah.
That just
there's so much schlock.
No, there was something.
So much grindhouse.
Yeah, that's the thing is there was something that I don't know, when I watched, whatever mood I was in when I watched it, I was not prepared.
It has a lot
and so I was there were more gory moments, I was like, ugh. And I think I didn't like the really sort of bleak aspect of it where I knew no one was getting away, and I think I was not into that. But yeah, when I rewatch it, I realize how absolutely goofy it is. When they turn,
I mean, there's moments
Dwight
it has
into a fish man.
It has some sound design and effects that are very jarring.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff.
It's just that in a normal movie, you don't, or at least even in that time, it wasn't as normal for movies where you would root for the bad guys.
Yeah.
Right.
And that movie doesn't have any likable characters.
And that's why I actually think that in House of a Thousand Corpses it's it's not as bad as it is in Devil's Rejects. They really glorify these fucking sociopathic rapists.
Yeah, and I actually don't like Devil Rejects at all.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. I know people love that,
like that
I
movie.
Really don't like it.
I like the movie, but it sympathizes too much with these people.
I can't watch
that are really horrible people.
Just don't. That's the other thing too. I think that's what it really was, especially with House of a Thousand Corpses. I didn't root for these guys. I was disgusted by them. I was really creeped out by the dad, the whole family. I was just, I don't like family killers. Texas Chainsaws always freaked me out. So I guess that was just sort of a thing where I was just this is horrifying. I don't like this, and and I hate that everywhere you turn, another one of them is gonna kill you. And so and so Devil Rejects, I don't know, just it was too honestly, to be frank, too rapey for me. I was just a little bit. I was just a little bit too, and again, because I don't root for these characters, I'm not fascinated by what nasty thing they're gonna do next. I'm not interested in watching how the movie goes. But I get it. If you're into who they are as killers, if they're your Jason or Michael Myers.
The whole William Forsythe angle where he turns the tables on them.
Yeah.
Is compelling, and he's great.
I'm a big Devil's Rejects fan
I see.
because I was the right boy age when that movie came out.
Yeah.
Like that's like the sweet spot. And I feel like that movie is maybe Rob Zombie's best use of like music. Like he makes like a lot of like
Freebird
music
at the
video
end
montage
is
about
like
it,
ultimate.
You know?
Well, and
Like
but
this
House of
movie-
a Thousand Corpses too. It like the title song with the credits. That's a great song. A House of a Thousand Corpses.
This movie Halloween uses "Don't Fear the Reapers" like fantastically.
It also
He does have good music.
It also one of my favorite like frame one needle drops is in this movie the use of what's it called Godzilla. No, not Godzilla. I always get those confused. The use of God of Thunder by Kiss is like it's this big heavy song. It's like my favorite Kiss song. It's a really good needle drop too.
So for the people at home, if you want to watch along with this commentary track, we are going to be watching Rob Zombie's Halloween, the director's cut,
Unrated.
which is totally unrated. So in effect, I've never seen this version.
I will say
And you've never seen this version.
I've never seen
I do have to give a trigger warning because the director's cut of this movie has a sort of fairly graphic rape scene in it. That is one of the things I hate the most about this movie. It's not necessarily just the fact that there's a rape scene, although that's already not, I'm not a huge fan unless it like has meaning and purpose, which this really doesn't. But also it changes the story in a way that I really
So
don't.
then why are we watching the director's cut?
Well, we don't have to.
Because they want to.
I just thought that it would give me the opportunity to, like, I could point out what scenes are not in the original, and I could talk about why I hate this scene and the original is better. But if you want to watch...
I mean, but do we want to make this about hate?
No, I mean, it's just that
No.
one... It's just that one thing that I
But
want...
you like other things in the director's cut.
There are other things in the director's cut I do like.
Okay.
They're not like I mean, I'm not like mad that they were cut out, because like I could see why they would lose some of this stuff. It's not like super integral. But there is stuff that I always like to see like more of a movie than, I originally saw. So I normally, most people that like director's cuts do like them for that reason, just to see more of this movie.
It's going to be a very strange experience.
But, if you guys want to watch the original, I prefer the original. And, we can do whatever.
Well, saying you prefer the original is very confusing. But I already announced we're doing the director's cut.
We'd have to start that.
Well, we're still talking about it.
We're doing the director's cut. Why wouldn't we do the director's cut?
Director's cut?
Alrighty then.
Why wouldn't we do the director's cut?
Okay.
I just, I don't know.
There are other things you like in the director's cut.
There are, yes.
This is Rob Zombie's pure cinematic vision.
There are also, like, there might be people, if they don't want to watch a rape scene, might not want to watch this version.
Well, you can tell them when it's going to come up.
Yeah.
And they can just skip it.
They can.
But I figure anybody who's listening
watching
to
a Rob Zombie.
No, but
like,
anyone
Rob
who's
Zombie's
listening,
movies are the rapiest movies.
No,
so
but
like,
also anyone who's listening to a commentary
right.
that we are doing about Rob Zombie's Halloween has probably already seen this version.
That's fair.
Dude, you click this. It's not my fault you click this.
Yeah, you picked this.
It's not my fault. It's not my fault. This is the one that has, like, the most mentally challenged
So, trigger warning.
Michael Myers.
It
so
is a Rob Zombie
There's going to be a lot of trigger warnings here.
There's violence, there's sexual assault.
Yes.
We are also watching the director's cut, which is more graphic. So.
It's unrated. No one has rated this.
No one has rated this.
So just be warned
right.
as you walk into the experience with us.
Yes.
And yeah.
And get your candy ready.
Your Halloween candy.
Put it in your mouth.
As it were.
Light your pumpkin.
Put it in your mouth.
That's where candy goes.
Yes, I know.
It's a fact.
What is it about this version, Derek, that you like more than any other version?
The original, you mean?
Then any. Do you like this more than the original?
No, I like the original better.
Okay. No, I'm talking about Rob Zombie's Halloween.
Oh, Rob Zombie. We'll get to that.
Okay, cool. All right.
There's a lot of reasons.
Oh, jeez. Okay.
I might just talk through this whole thing.
That's fine. It's commentary.
Happy Halloween.
No, I mean, but I want you guys to talk too. But I have a lot to say. I actually already have written a piece for the blog about this movie and why I love it. So I'll have a lot of the same things to say. But
We've written in the past. We've
Yes.
had those entries before.
yeah. So
Here we go.
What
We are about to press play on Rob Zombie's Halloween, the director's cut.
Oh.
We are starting in 3, 2, fun, boom. And we are here at the beautiful Dimension logo,
Dimension Picture
brought to you
Films.
by rapist Harvey Weinstein.
Yeah, that's right.
This rapey movie. And yet,
Yeah.
Harvey said to cut out the rapey stuff. So what do you
I
know?
guess. What about that?
What do you know?
I love this quote
The
here. too.
darkest souls are not those which choose to exist within the hell of the abyss, but those which choose to break free from the abyss and move silently among us. You're not even real.
I love it. I love it.
Wow, we're already starting strong.
Here
Harvey
we go. Here we
Weinstein
go.
mentioned.
Needle drop.
What? I can't ignore that Harvey Weinstein made this.
You
I can't ignore it. I won't ignore it.
can't.
Great song.
Also, I think it's interesting that the only prep I did for this movie was I watched like a 3-minute Joe Rogan clip
Joe Rogan.
of Joe Rogan interviewing Rob Zombie,
Oh, really?
where he basically is just saying, just like complaining that the studio meddles too much
Yeah.
and meddled too much in his movie.
That's like, I watched the director commentary for this, and it's not that interesting because it's mostly Rob Zombie talking about how meddling the studio was and how when he got a sequel, he was like, oh good, I got a sequel, this movie's successful, I'll have a little bit more freedom. They were worse for the sequel.
Well, what he said about the sequel was that he didn't want to make the sequel, and they wanted to make the sequel, and he gave them a script for this other movie that they promised him they'd make, and they looked at it and they said, this movie's way too expensive. And he said, fine. And then he heard how much other people were gonna make for the sequel.
Yeah, man. William Forsythe as the abusive boyfriend guy is like,
He's so hot. You
he's
wanna stay with
so
him?
over the top. It's amazing. This is like the most Rob Zombie thing. The fucking like white trash, like abusive douchebag. This. Does she look familiar though?
She does look familiar to me, yes.
That's little child Jenny in Forrest Gump. All grown up.
Whoa.
Oh, yeah.
Damn, she grew up to be a Myers. Well,
This whole chicken abortion thing that's not in the original.
that's too controversial.
Yeah. Right.
But she's also factually incorrect. They are not chicken abortions.
No, they're not. They're not at all.
There-
They're literally chicken stem cells. Like that's
They're
what they
just unfertilized. It's like a chicken, period. It's actually closer to what it really is. They
Yeah.
are unfertilized eggs.
are. Right. He just said she has a nice dumper.
Fun!
Because he's a very
Wow! Why did I not like this movie?
Yeah,
Gosh,
no.
I can't even
horrible.
fathom.
Well, it's
why.
and what I like, the reason I like this is because, and this is why a lot of people don't like this movie, is because it humanizes Michael Myers. It makes him a product of, this horrible upbringing combined with like internal factors.
I can see why that bothers people because the original Michael Myers is just the boogeyman.
It's just like
this kid was born
a
wrong.
godlike.
This
fucking
kid was
creature.
born wrong, and
And a lot of
he
people
stayed
get-
wrong.
A lot of people don't like. Yeah, the
Whoa, trigger warning, transphobia.
Oh my goodness!
Nonsense. Yeah, it's
Happy
2007,
fucking
guys.
Halloween, kids.
It's
Wow!
Yeah. a lot of people don't like that they made him this like big hulking guy, so that explains why he's so powerful and he's not this like supernatural-esque being, and they humanize him and demystify, and that's all the stuff that I actually like about this movie. I like origin stories. I like seeing where people came from. I like the idea that this makes it a little bit more realistic, that like this could be a thing that could happen
I know,
in
but
the
I don't
world.
know if I need Michael Myers to be realistic, I guess.
Yeah.
But
I mean, that's fair. I don't argue with those people. I just feel completely differently.
obviously there are people who feel strongly because there are people who are big fans of the Rob Zombie Halloween series and support it and
They're not a lot. Like, most people, when it comes up anywhere on social media, just shit on this Rob Zombie Halloweens.
Oh shit, is this Junie?
And, yeah.
Yeah.
oh
From
snap.
Spy Kids, what's up?
These, like, stereotypical bullies
This also...
at a 70s school.
I think
we must note that I feel like, although this movie may be maligned, from when this movie came out, all the batch of horror remakes that had come out,
Yeah.
this is actually one of the
later
ones that
ones.
was more original
Mm-hmm.
and that tried
That's true.
to actually
It actually
pave
adds
new ground.
It doesn't,
Yeah.
and that's one of the criticisms of it that I never understood, is that it doesn't add anything to the original, which is false. Like, it actually does add something, and something very significant, and that's the biggest reason why I love this movie, is what it adds. There's a scene much later in the movie where you see, like, this is not at all in the original in any way, shape, or form.
Uh-huh.
And we'll get to that later, but...
It's amazing how this old man looks like he's wearing old man makeup
Yeah,
on.
Yeah.
no, he
Yes,
does.
it's
Like,
a-
it really is.
But
like-
is he wearing old man makeup or is that just his
I don't know.
face?
No, I think that...
I think
think
it
this is
seems
just-
like he's wearing makeup, but I don't know. It also seems like it could just be his face.
I'm
Like,
pretty sure that's old man makeup. It looks
it's
a little
pretty,
too artificial.
Yeah.
So who is this actor?
It definitely looks like he has a layer of something
But
over.
why would he be an old man in the past? Why would you need him to be even older?
I don't know. Maybe they just really like this actor. Oh, the way that they make Malcolm McDowell's transition from young hotshot psychiatrist to the older guy that he is later in the movie. Just some long brownish hair, and like, yeah, his face is very clearly it's still the face of old ass Malcolm McDowell.
Psychologist? May I ask you, has your son ever had any kind of
Yeah, there's some animal stuff that's coming up that is a little bit
Yeah, Richard Lynch,
squeamish.
the actor who plays the principal, just looks like that. He's always looked.
He just looks like that.
He just looks like
He
Oh
just
my
has
God.
always looked like he has like
Oh,
a mask
yeah.
on his face.
Yeah, he does.
Okay.
Even in that young picture.
Alright, that's just his face.
My apologies,
Yeah,
Richard
JK.
Lynch.
Sorry.
You're a beautiful principal.
Maybe they just put too much foundation on him or something. I
Yeah,
don't know.
that-
It's not like
That can also give that effect.
it
for
like
sure.
caked on, yeah.
Yeah. Hey, dead animal picture.
Wow, this is really a nice
No, they really like.
cacophony of all nasty things.
Well, they were like go into his psychology and like you
Well,
know that is a common
I think-
I get it.
psychological
I get
trait
it.
of.
I get it.
I
So
think-
it's humanizing.
I think it's kind of cool to like, you know, put. It's a very Rob Zombie thing, but he like put all of the most fucked up things he could
the problem that I
in what's
have.
supposed to be the scariest.
I
horror movie.
understand that. The
Yeah.
problem that I have with like the early aughts sort of like overdoing it.
Oh yeah.
It's not. I am not at all someone adverse to using horrifying themes
It's
of
gritty
reality.
for the sake of being gritty.
Yeah, like it's just an orgy of misogyny, an orgy
Of
of violence.
darkness.
It doesn't seem to. It doesn't.
Dark, dank.
It's just to show. It's just to make people physically uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But doesn't really say anything beyond that. It's quite easy to make people physically and emotionally
And that's
uncomfortable.
that's what a lot of people love about the Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake, and that's what I hate about it. It's
Which
just
one?
such an aesthetic. The 2003 with Jessica Biel.
I like that.
It's just so early 2000s.
It is early 2000s, but I
Leatherface
like it.
looks like he's in Slipknot. Like that mask. The thing I love about the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre is that it doesn't look like anything or sound like anything. Like some of the stuff they do is silly and weird, but that makes it that much scarier.
There's a couple things that I like about the 2003. Like that's what I'm saying. Again, I'm not adverse to.
Oh man,
I'm not adverse to the grotesque, and I actually find that the 2003 kind of manages to balance that sort of edgy early aughts and the old school thing.
I
That's
feel like
just
everything's dark and everything's dripping.
It's everything, yes.
Like,
no, but I like that. I don't know. I like that dripping aspect of it.
This
is just different for me because I don't know. It's just like Rob loves to just use.
He's pretty sadistic.
He's sadistic, and he revels in it, and I'm just not.
Yeah.
I'm not the audience for this all the time now.
You loved him in Spy Kids. Now watch him get bludgeoned to death in Rob Zombie's Halloween.
I have always liked the blood here. That it's so black. Like, that was another thing about the early aughts and late aughts even. Horror was like that, like, move to, we're gonna make the most realistic dark blood.
Yeah.
So Michael here, he like literally knows like the jig is up.
Yeah.
They know I kill things.
Yeah. This
is my last chance to kill humans. I better hurry up and kill humans. Is that what
I don't know. I think he just I think he's already in the state that he's in now when they bully him and was just waiting like an animal, like you see him stalking like an animal, and that's what it's modeled after.
I like to explore why sexual violence and stuff makes us so much more squeamish than like actual physical violence, because I think that's kind of a fucked up response, in that I think it's a societal problem. We've been so desensitized to this. Like, we're watching this. I'm watching this kid get his head beaten, and I'm like, well, that's gross, but, like, it's like I know that it's not real.
Yeah, right.
And I think that there's, like, a problem where, like, we're so... It's amazing how they use sexual violence so much in horror and in storytelling in general, and so to the point where it almost feels like it's
That's
desensitized.
A great death, though, by the way.
That is a great death.
That, like, little motion of the spirit leaving his body.
And we have the first kill for Halloween.
We do.
Yes.
Boom.
Well, the first human kill.
But it's like, yeah, like we
peace to the animals.
with
And it's so primitive, and like he just gets a fucking branch.
Just a branch and just beats the crap out of him.
He's so devoid of humanity that he's just like, let me get a fucking giant branch and just bludgeon this kid to death because he talked about my mom. And this guy's still fucking being the worst and just egging him on.
So apparently Forsyth had a broken leg in real life.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
So they just worked it.
Into the story.
Because he really wanted it.
Did he injure it like on a movie or just?
That I did not.
Oh no, F slurs.
The trivia did not give me that information.
Yeah.
Again, his character already supposed to have a broken hand.
I mean,
so they just
the thing is that with the overkill of the sort of the sexual overtones of what he's doing, that was very heavily implied in the original Halloween, that there was some things sexually frustrated about Michael. And then the subsequent, like, kind of, they focus on that. The fact that he kills promiscuous people first. Like, he's one of the reasons why...
But he's very sensual about the way he kills, too. Choking people,
he's
thing. And
physical, he likes to be... But that's what I'm saying, like, there was always
the way that he tilts his head at the guy, that after he pins him up against the wall, is almost like, animalistic, like, sexual curiosity, maybe, even.
So the original Halloween definitely set up that idea, that... there is an element of psychosexual frustration that Michael is taking out on people when he kills them. So I feel like Rob Zombie's just turning that up to 11 and making the subtext text.
Yeah, right.
Which, it's like, is is it necessary? Like, but I guess it's Rob Zombie, so.
Right.
I like how this movie uses like the little like glimpses of information we have from the opening of the first Halloween,
Yeah.
like the little clown mask,
Mhm.
the
Yeah.
clown outfit, and like his older, more promiscuous sister.
I
and
feel
Rosemary.
bad. I feel bad for what's the name of the band that did Love Hurts. That this song has now become like the musical cue in film for the
That
most
thing just-
depressing, like, and it usually involves a strip club too. Like, it's really just shorthand for like everything's Nazareth. That's who it is.
So one of the things Rob Zombie was upset about when he made this movie was that he wrote this movie with a strip club. He's making a rated R movie,
Right.
and the studio didn't want him to have any nudity
Tits.
in the strip clubs.
Yeah.
So he purposefully
See, and this is what I'm talking about.
filmed nudity for the strip clubs because he's like, when people tell me not to do something, it only makes me want to do it.
But this is what I'm talking about. This is why I feel like we have this warped sense in filmmaking about like why sexual violence is so much worse than physical violence. Because we literally have studios saying, you can't show boobies, you can't show...
Right.
Oh, we can
Yeah.
show all this horrible rape and
Right,
stuff, but
exactly.
don't show the boobs. And it's like, really...
Yeah.
And I think also, obviously, it's the way directors film things. Do you feel like they're filming it in a lascivious way?
Like this doesn't.
Yeah.
Like this, like her boobs are kind of like off screen, like they're through a
Ew, that
veil.
guy's greasy.
Yeah.
Oh, God. No, shower. Blech.
This is an interesting change.
I know it smells crazy.
This is
man.
an interesting change that I'm sure some people didn't like, but I kind of like the early introduction
Of the mask.
of the Jason, the Jason. Oh my God, the Michael Myers Halloween mask, and
So-
that.
I just, before we're out of this time frame, I just want to give props to Dave Fairch, who
Yes.
plays young Michael.
He is excellent in this, and that's that's another thing I love about this movie. I mean, I love seeing the origins stuff anyway, but he plays such a perfect young Michael Myers that he's just, look at that, like,
No, and he's got such
he's
a-
just mesmerizing.
He just has such an interesting look.
Yes.
Yeah, his face.
Yeah,
He
it's like
manages
big
to
thick
convey a
lips
sort
and
of
his big.
sadness, but a sort of emptiness as well. Like
Yes.
it's a hard thing to do.
Like, I would be almost into a sequel to this if they got him to come in and,
Yeah.
like,
I wonder what he looks like now.
he looks
Is he
so,
tall?
he's like all
He's a
like
pretty boy.
bearded
handsome?
and
Yeah.
he's got like a headband and
Oh,
like
look at him! So pretty.
yeah.
He
He
looks like a Swedish
he
metal
basically
rocker.
looks exactly the same. I saw
Yeah.
pictures of him as a teenager where he had like a Satan beard and
Yeah.
fucking like a bandana around his head. He was like all like biker hippie looking and stuff. But yeah, in that picture he looks like a grown up.
This is such a
version
creepy
of this
moment that he's just sitting here like, I'm mad. I didn't get to go trick or
That's
treating.
I love
I'm just gonna kill everyone.
I love that, like, the way that the switch, like there's nothing, it's so completely
But also
subtle.
remember, there's a
Just all of a sudden, like,
there's
oh,
a
I'm just gonna...
psychosexual element to it because he knows that his mom is working at the strip club, his sister's upstairs having sex.
He just killed a guy for making fun of his
his
mom at the
mom
strip
being
club,
a
and his
sex
sister
worker, yeah.
being, easy.
Easy, yeah.
He talked about her, too.
That's what I'm saying.
So, yeah.
Rob is continuing that sexual frustration element in it. It's just, obviously taking it up to the 11th.
Yeah. I just want to point out, how drunk does this guy have to be
Pretty drunk.
to not wake up when he does this
Yeah.
Yeah.
to him? Like, he is passed the fuck out.
It's also, too, I like the simplicity of... I've always liked the simplicity of Michael Myers just being a butcher knife, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Because it's always like, you can't guard
That, again,
your
is
family
another-
from, like, normal things.
That is also, again, another sexual element. It's literally a phallus.
Look at the way he uses the knife to
Yeah.
pull the curtains back. Like it's an extension of him, I love that. That's a nice little detail. I wonder who came up with that, or if it even was
If
like...
it was improv.
Yeah. I love this too. Like, this is just like such
And
a haunting thing.
The color palette's good here,
It's dark. It's very dark, but yeah,
Well, there's still color.
But there's still
you know?
color.
it's
Like
saturated.
he manages to desaturate and saturate.
This shot here, and then that, and then just that idea of him looking up, and that's the last thing he sees is he knows that little Michael, Michel as he called him, just fucking slit his throat.
Yeah, maybe you shouldn't have called that kid a freaking homo so much.
Yeah.
Maybe we shouldn't have been so nasty and homophobic.
Maybe that was a bad call, bro.
Yeah.
And these little, and the sound design here, to cue, right here. It's just like blurry in the back. I love that. And then the feet.
I wonder some people have problems with it though because it sort of like implies that his family deserved to be killed. And that's kind of fucked because it's like.
Well, I don't know. I mean, it's yeah. I mean,
because you just like them so much. They're so nasty to him. They're so cruel to him.
I think most people would say that like the William Forsythe character deserves to be killed.
Yeah.
The rest of them are still kind of getting some sort of karmic retribution, but don't necessarily deserve to be killed for what they're doing.
Yeah, but that's the thing is like the original movie, there is no karmic retribution. Yeah. Their family's just their family,
it's
and
just
they're
random.
murdered.
It's just random.
And in this, it's like okay, it's almost like turning them into an extension
and
of the victims that you see later on.
Well, the only character who's been mildly empathetic
is the mom.
Is the mother, and
well,
I guess Loomis to a small degree.
And the baby.
Well, it's
that's
a baby.
An important detail.
It's a baby.
No, but I'm saying for later, that's an important detail. And there's a scene coming up that I will tell you why that's an important detail. This is
See, this is the violence. This is the frustration.
But again, like it's also like it's off screen.
Yeah.
They show him when he's done, but it's a this
no,
obscure shot.
I don't.
But it is very over the top with the violence. Yeah. And I love this here, the way he just like walks through.
Kind of like
why?
What bothered?
Hold on.
What really?
Hold on.
Yes.
So he had a butcher knife.
He walks right through.
He said, "Fuck it."
Yeah.
Put the butcher knife down.
I want to beat this guy with a bat.
His brains
this
in
is
like
what
I
I'm
did my
talking
bullet.
about. Exactly. This is what I'm talking about.
Well, and that's the aspect of it that you're like, oh, he's a psycho. This guy doesn't deserve fucking anything just for coming over and fucking his sister, you know.
But
and then his sister.
You asked the question.
I don't know.
Refused to take him trick or treating,
yeah.
so that's like
He's
a reason,
the sister, yeah.
but it's not. It's no reason. Like it's obviously like there's a motivation, but it's not justifiable.
Normal children just cry. They don't kill
Well, he's
their
a
whole
sociopath.
family.
That's the whole point. Like he's a monster psychopath.
Yeah.
And this, I love. And again, I'm sure there are people that hated this, but him donning
the mask.
In
the past? No, this is blasphemy. Turn off the
I love it.
Michael can't do this.
You know, this is my kind of fan service, and it looks good on him for something that's so oversized. It actually looks really good. It makes him look really weird.
Yeah, bro, this is weird. Yeah, he's a freak.
Is right.
I'm telling you, he's a freak.
They're
just Rob Zombie's just leaning into the freak.
Stop it. He's totally it's true.
He's a freak.
Michael, what the fuck are you doing in here? Answer me.
His dead eyes behind the thing.
He's trying to do some Game of Thrones, baby. What's up?
Answer me. Answer me.
Incest is not best.
Answer me. Oh,
stomach stab.
There's the answer. You asked. Those eyes. Oh man. Yeah, there's some like really good cinematography in this. I will say.
I did remember the cinematography. That was one aspect of it I liked.
And in this scene too, there's some visual effects that I really like in terms of the cinema, like this shaking.
So this is our fourth kill.
Yeah, wow. We're
wrapping
them up.
Yeah. The family slaughter, man. That's the. It's I from the first time I saw this movie, I loved the fact that they turned like 5 minutes at the beginning of the original into this like 30-minute prologue of him as a kid. I love getting more information on that, and a lot of people don't. They don't want that
I think
information.
it depends on the character. I think
Yeah.
the prompt. Look, here's my thing. At this point, when you're doing a reboot of a thing that's had like 6 sequels at this point,
You gotta do something.
I'm just saying, like, what the fuck do people expect? The truth of the matter is if you didn't want
gotta
any
try
of this,
stuff. You
if
gotta
you
try
didn't want
something.
any of this, they should have left it at Halloween 1 and moved
Right,
on. They
exactly.
should not have made Halloween 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, blah, 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 whatever. And so that's kind of the thing, is it's like, once you're here...
Okay, so here is why I said that before. This scene is, to me, very important in this movie. Because look what he does here. He comes in, he's done killing, he takes off the mask,
Because the baby's the only one he was sweet to.
and he says, "Happy Halloween, boo." To me, that implies he did this for her.
Maybe.
And there's more to support that later in the movie, I feel. But it's like he's giving her this, like, Happy Halloween gift. Like, Happy Halloween, boo, look what I did. I killed everybody that makes your life horrible. Except not really, because the sister doesn't really do anything, and the boyfriend is never there.
But he was pretty greasy, so he had to go.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it was nasty. I know it smelled crazy in there.
But yeah, this, I mean, up until the point when it jumps to the present or the future or whatever it's supposed to be, this is a really bleak take.
This movie is also just really bleak. Like,
It's also, it's
really-
interesting, this is, you know, Rob always casts his wife
Yeah.
in all his movies.
It's almost like he makes movies just to show off how hot his wife is.
Yeah, maybe that's another thing that like annoys me, because I'm not
She's in Monsters too, like she's
best
in everything.
actress in the world.
No, but
Yeah,
I think it's beautiful.
I like her. I think she's good. She does
She's gotten better.
She does the crazy
Yeah.
pixie lady in
Yeah.
House of a Thousand
I
Corpses.
think
really
it's
well.
I think it's a beautiful thing to purposefully cast your wife
Yeah, totally.
against everyone's will.
Right? Yeah,
To be in
totally.
your movie. And like I was
Totally.
saying,
I
I
saw-
think it's interesting that
It's
he makes
beautiful.
her into
Nepotism, the
If-
most beautiful
no,
thing in the world.
Come on. It's if you think about this from like a biblical perspective, like Rob wants to fuck Michael Myers' mom. You know what I mean? He wants to fuck like the Virgin Mary
Wow.
of murderers.
Wow.
And this has been
Okay?
a Stephen thought.
That's what Rob wants to do, not me. He did this. He thought this out.
Did he? Let's ask him. Did you want to fuck Michael Myers?
No, but
mom?
think about like in a horror con circuit, like that should be a prestigious role. The mother of Jason is one of the most prestigious roles.
But that's because
in all of
Jason's
cinema.
mother is involved in the murders.
Okay, but the mother of
Well, she's
people.
the original murderer.
If somebody gave a shit about Freddy's mom to make her a character, she would be beloved.
Why would you
Okay.
ever want to do that?
If Rob Zombie made Friday the 13th, he would cast Sherry Moon Zombie as Jason's mother, is what you're saying right now.
Yes.
Yeah, confirmed.
Which would be ridiculous.
Yeah. But awesome. So, okay, so here are some reasons why I do like the director's cut in some ways. There are some things about it that I do like. There's some extra stuff here that I enjoy, but also can understand why it's not really integral to the movie. There's these little intercut scenes that happen between scenes here that I think one of them is coming up, and they're pretty weird and haunting and very Rob Zombie in terms of the visual effects.
Tell me, Michael, what do you remember about
This is also really haunting.
that night?
I love how they show how he really, his personality is so completely bifurcated that he doesn't even remember what he did on Halloween night.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he thinks he just had a regular Halloween.
Kind of like how I feel about the Halloween sequels. Like I've seen them, but I don't really remember what happens in them.
Yeah. These
But it's
scenes are
always
it.
the sort of
This is
int-
the stuff. The stuff that's
There's
not.
also something sort of interesting because it's like, do you believe him when he says he doesn't remember? Like, does he really not remember? Like,
I mean, I think it's meant to be believed from a filmmaking standpoint. Like, why would he lie?
I don't know.
If he
it's
was
not
if he
li-
was
no, it's
sociopath
not-
enough
it's not
to do
li-
it,
It's not lying. It's literally rewriting reality. You get what I'm saying? He's not lying to the doctor.
It's a defense mechanism.
he doesn't think
He
did.
doesn't think that he did. Yeah, he doesn't think.
Well, it's kind of the same thing, though.
I don't know.
Well,
because,
but that's
you
what
know,
he's saying.
They're implying
That's what
that it's
he's saying.
amnesia. They're implying that it's amnesia.
I don't think they are. I think they're implying that
He said he doesn't remember.
That the Michael Myers who did that is a different person in his body. You know what I mean? I think that's the implication. That he
But it's
Yay, Danny Trejo!
Yay! It's
Yeah, I
like
love him
how,
in
but
this.
it's like how people with, people can rewrite their realities.
Mhm,
And they
absolutely.
can literally believe the lies that they
bro.
tell.
Right.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, when I'm saying
This
he's
is so-
lying,
I
I'm
think
saying
that's-
he may genuinely believe at
No,
this
I
point,
think-
I didn't do this.
I
I'm not
think
saying he's
that's-
lying like he knows
I mean, that's
he's
how
lying.
that's often how sociopaths work. They shut that shit out, and they're like, "Why are you arresting me? I didn't do anything. What are you talking about?"
This is so fucked up.
I saw.
Because
Yeah,
Danny
they-
Trejo looks so young here,
Yeah.
and yet at this time we still thought he looked so old.
Yeah, he's looked
Now
like
he's
that.
even older.
Remember the Harold and
listen.
Kumar
Yeah.
3?
Danny
He's
Trejo-
looked like that since he was a little baby.
Danny Trejo lived a rough life.
Yeah.
There is a
Before he
I love
started
his little
career.
thing there about I've spent some time behind walls. You gotta learn to live inside your head,
Mhm.
relating to him.
There's an amazing documentary every Danny Trejo fan should watch called Champion, about Danny Trejo's life and about how he went to jail and got out of jail and helps people get off drugs and transition from jail to normal life. It's very good.
By the way, we also just got the, now known to be very racist description of black is the absence of color and white is all of the colors.
Mhm.
Which is also, I think
But
scientifically
isn't that not
that's...
true? Black
No?
is all colors.
Well,
Do you mean on the
on
spectrum?
the spectrum of light, I don't think so. Black, when you combine all the colors, you get black.
Yeah.
So there's also that aspect to it, which is why another reason why it's kind of racist. Black is also all the colors in a different way.
So Michael,
yeah, I mean,
so basically this could have just been a montage that
But-
says Michael Myers
but yeah,
gets into arts and crafts
yeah.
Right? Yeah, exactly.
and makes a bunch of masks.
Yeah, which they do anyway. You get it. So there's no need for those scenes, but I like them. But yeah, also black isn't really the absence of color. It's the absence of color. There's no color. It's void. That's it's
Yeah.
clear, or whatever.
Yeah.
That's the absence of color, not black. Oh, it hides my ugliness. The pathos.
Nothing will hide your ugliness if you stab with it.
He has, like you were saying before, Stephen, he has the perfect face that he's a cute kid. And also, because of the way his face looks, you can understand why a kid that looks like that would think he's ugly.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's kind of chubby, he has big lips that are, unusual, he has long hair, and, he seems like the kind of kid that would get picked on for looking weird. Mental sanctuary. Mental sanctuary.
Don't we all deserve a mental sanctuary, Dr. Loomis?
Yeah, this is all just
Silence
explaining
sounds.
that whole scene was just Loomis explaining the subtext of what we just saw with the scene with his mom. And here he is, he's deteriorating, he's becoming more and more the other Michael, the shape that is basically what we call that.
So,
Right.
so incarceration was not a good.
No, it made it worse.
Has just ruined
Yeah.
his life.
Because he doesn't understand.
He doesn't understand because he doesn't understand. And this is Michael. This isn't the shape, because he's like, I don't understand why I'm still here. Why am I, like, I didn't do anything.
But that's a total lack of, like, being able to take any culpability for his actions, because...
No,
like,
it's just, he literally, like you were just saying, he doesn't know that he did that.
Yeah.
And
he
people
doesn't
keep telling
recognize
him, and he's like, no, what the fuck are you talking about?
I managed to persuade the suits to let you come out.
This is not in the theatrical, I think.
In truth, in physics, black and white are not listed as colors at all.
Right.
They are not they do not have specific wavelengths. Instead, white light contains all wavelengths of visible light. Black, on the other hand, is the absence of visible light. So that is the definition.
That is scientific, like, and you know, you can get into an
but
argument
neither
of, like,
color.
all those white scientists that made this up, you know, kind of thing. But like, yeah, I mean, that is basically the science behind it.
But that's the thing, though, is that in another explanation, people say absence, but it's actually, I've always seen it as the absorption. It's the absorption of all the light.
That makes more sense.
And that's black.
Like black holes.
Yeah, it's like an absorption of light.
Right.
So how the hell do they write off Michael's mom?
Oh, you don't remember that? Oh, man. That's one of the bleakest parts. I'm sorry that you're having to experience that again.
Wait, what happened?
I'm trying to figure out how they write off her mom.
Oh, yeah, it's not gonna go. It's not gonna go well.
It's not gonna go well for her.
It never goes well. Just assume that it doesn't go well.
A shape. You see, he says it. A mere shape of a human being. That's a really cool little Easter egg.
I don't know. The way Dr. Loomis talks about these people.
He seems like
seems like he's not doing a great job.
He seems like he's. And I think that's one thing that those little additions add to the movie, is that they portray him as a guy who's interested in the science, not the
human,
people.
Yeah.
And maybe that's why they took him out, because they didn't want him to seem that way. Because in the movie, in the theatrical, he's not like that.
Well,
in the original movie,
he's just a guy that runs.
Hope. He's our only hope, really.
Yeah.
Right.
You know
He's
what I mean?
also like just a harbinger. He's like running around telling everybody like Michael is the devil, Michael is evil incarnate.
His
like,
history,
he has no sympathy for Michael.
His history with Michael is entirely implicit.
Yeah.
Like they have no interactions
but his
until
language about Michael is always he is evil. He
pure
is
evil.
black. He is the darkness. He is.
But
Yeah.
that's
You know what I
because
mean?
he's like the Van Helsing to Michael's Dracula.
That's
This
what
is
I'm
another-
saying, though.
This
is
is
that
another great scene.
That's kind of the conflict you have with humanizing Michael. If you go for the original, Michael is a boogeyman. You know what I mean?
This is another scene of like the switch flipping. Cute baby. And he looks at her. That line is not in the original. She just says cute baby. So they make her less snarky.
Yeah.
So that
He seems more evil.
Also, can I just point out, and this has been pointed out,
I don't
why
think
does
you
he
should
have a fucking metal
fork? Yeah. You know, the only thing I'll say is that maybe they thought that he was like somewhat okay, because sometimes they'll do that with patients. They'll give them
little
rewards
treats.
and stuff like that. But
but he's not.
No, he's not alright.
And we got our 5th kill.
Yeah, man, a brutal one. And he's like already full on shape at this point. Like that could be the scene where the switch flips for the last time.
And Michael pulling an Abdullah the Butcher on this poor
man.
nurse.
And that sound design there for that scream is so great. I've always loved that.
I think definitely understand why original Halloween people
Yeah,
don't
just
like
scream
this.
Michael at him. That'll help.
Yeah. I see why they don't like this at all. This is just way, way, way too much before you even get to just the stabbing.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, when you're like in the like that's why like Michael Myers has never been one of my favorites, because to me the whole point of him is that he's just a train that just keeps going and you can't escape him, and I'm like, okay, but like that gets old for me very quickly.
That's why I love this movie, is that the way that it humanizes him makes him so much more than that. There is some complexity even as he is still this psychopath shape.
But at the end of the day, he still has, in order for this movie to be a Halloween movie, you have to get to the point where he's just gonna start killing people. So
Yeah,
like,
but
is
that's
it
okay.
worth
Well,
investing the time?
wait until later and we'll see what happens. Is all I'm gonna say.
It's always worth
And
it
this
when
is
teenagers
how-
die.
This is how they write.
I
off-
like this. It's kind of like our TFA panel where we have the haters and the lovers and the neutral. I guess you're the neutral, Steven.
This is how we write off the mother.
Oh, makes sense. Suicide, I guess.
That does make sense.
Right? I mean, it is kind
She
of.
lost her whole family.
And the way
and-
they do it here, they don't show it.
Yeah.
Just. And the baby crying. And those home movies, like that's a
So
really
they're not gonna touch
a
that
really
baby
well done
until
scene.
the sequel, or they're gonna let us know in this movie?
Isn't the baby
It's
Jamie
she's
Lee-
the
Okay.
main character.
She's
Yeah.
Jamie Lee Curtis?
No, because I know it's important in the sequel.
She's Jamie Lee Curtis.
No, it's
Okay, but-
it is in this one.
Okay, I'm
Yeah.
just making sure.
That's one thing that this benefits from hindsight in
Yeah.
terms of, they made that change before, like between the first two Halloween movies. Whereas this one, he already knows that, or he's using that bit of lore
Rob Zombie,
that it's her sister.
he knows he's got
His
Halloween
sister.
6 and 7 to build to. So
Yeah, right.
He's got to lay the pipe deep.
And this guy, this creepo.
Yeah, arts and crafts.
It doesn't seem like a really smart idea to cuss
Bro,
at inmates.
why?
Oh, he antagonizes him so
It's-
much, like
I
unnecessarily.
know. Again,
it's
I'm
hilarious.
saying like, but that's my other thing too. Is it's like, no, and I know that this happens, but I'm saying like it's very stupid.
This is Rob Zombie universe, bro. This is how people react.
It is really overdone.
At McDonald's.
It is.
If you
it-
go to
no,
the-
listen. It is overdone.
It's
The
overdone.
the over the top mistreatment
Yeah.
of people in
Yes.
mental illness facilities is way overdone. I mean, mental
It
illness
does
in general
exist.
in Halloween,
It does exist.
in horror is super overdone and like done really
Badly,
fucked
yeah.
up. But yeah, it is.
Yo, bro, if
it's
Rob-
That's another reason why I'm wondering if people don't like it, because there's something inherently like, okay, I get it. In the first one, it's like you've got the mental health guy, he's in the mental health thing and he's coming out, but like Michael Myers is almost kind of like a supernatural figure, so you're
Right.
not really thinking that much about it.
you don't know how he
But
escaped. You
then
don't
again,
know
you
what
do
the
have
fuck-
Dr. Loomis constantly trying to explain his psychology away. So,
Right.
but this is like, it like literally leans into that. So it's like, does this make it more of a problem?
So far, this just reads to me as like, this is just deep character study.
Deep cut,
You know what
deep
I mean?
cuts,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah.
This
I
is just a deep character study.
That's what I love about
It's
it.
just the topic just happens to be
Michael
one
Myers.
of the most
I mean, that's an interesting project to take on, like
depressing
the
serial killers.
doing a character study of a psychopath.
Like if
But
they did this,
it's
if they did this for Freddy Krueger, right? This would be
It would be more interesting, bro.
40 minutes of a child predator.
yeah,
Okay.
it would be of a guy.
and
being
it
a
would be equally this disturbing.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't need it though.
Well, I'm not saying we need it. I'm just saying that
Freddy goes
this
in there.
this
dreams
is
and
just
makes
what
it
happens
worse.
if you just start leaning into it
I understand.
so hard, you know?
And
Yeah.
and as a,
I like. I mean, I to
as
me,
the designated
to me-
hater, I ask why.
to me, the humanization makes it like, this is something that could happen in our world, which is scarier, in a way. Whereas
But
a lot of people think it's scarier that he's random, that he's supernatural, that he has this mystique about him, and I get that. Like,
So-
I just feel differently.
What I don't get, right? And I want to know if this is accurate or not.
It's
If I have a mental breakdown,
So here, you just told him he can't see him anymore. So just so we're,
yeah.
if I have a mental breakdown,
Uh-huh.
they'll let me wear a mask all the time? Like, they just...
To keep
It's
you happy,
cool.
if it keeps you happy, if it keeps you
Depends
calm.
depends. Well, first of all,
Because I feel like in
I'm
regular
gonna
jail, they'd be like,
I
excuse
don't
me,
even
take off your
know
mask.
if these facilities. I guess. Well, oh, that's right. He's in a psychiatric jail, so
Yeah.
those
It's-
two do
It's a
exist.
psychiatric facility.
Yeah, but no, it's a prison because
Yeah.
like regular
No.
mental health facilities
No,
no,
no.
longer exist. They closed all those down.
No, it's a psychiatric,
It's
prison.
prison, yeah. But like, I mean, they might, depending on if it, do they feel that it will harm you or the other patients?
Right.
They,
If it calms you down and it doesn't hurt anybody else, they'll probably...
And the other
I
thing is,
feel,
too, is...
my feeling is we should not be taking any DSM-5 or
Right.
psychiatric advice from the Rob Zombie Halloween director's cut.
I just think, I think it would be better for him instead of making his own masks that are like creepy, if someone from the general public just got him like some cool masks from Spirit Halloween.
No, like he has a hobby, he has a craft. That's a good thing for them to have. Okay. Now we get to talk about why I prefer the theatrical version.
This is the rape scene?
Because yes, this is the rape scene.
Oh no.
Trigger warning, everybody. These creepos from the Devil's Rejects, or this guy, I guess, is from,
See, this isn't... Okay, so, like, we're here,
But
and I'm
here,
like, why?
so-
Why are we here?
That's why.
Why are we here?
And that's what I wanted to explain is like it's not specifically the fact that he puts a rape scene in the movie. It's that there's no reason for it, and it changes the story for the worse.
So why?
Well, hold on. No,
Why is he here?
I can think of a justification for this.
What?
Well, we've already showed that the first place Michael Myers lived was a bad place with bad people.
Yeah.
And now we're showing that the second home Michael Myers has, this insane asylum,
They take women into his room
it's still
to fuck them in front of him.
It's still a bad place full of bad people.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
it's,
Michael hasn't, in all of
But
this...
here's the thing,
that's
here's
the
the
thing.
thing.
He's never
is that
been
all
to the place.
all the good people are gone now because it was Dr. Loomis and then that one guy, the one custodian.
The reason I hate this is because
No one would
besides
do
the fact that it's unnecessary
No one would do
to
this.
me.
No one would do
It
that.
No one would
makes
do this.
listen,
This is
listen.
so-
It makes Michael Myers' escape accidental
and
as
heroic.
opposed to
On purpose.
intentional.
Yeah, and like
And
that's
they just had a scene where Loomis tells him that he can't see him anymore.
Yeah.
Yo,
And the idea that he breaks out because of that is so much better
these guys...
than him just like taking this chance. Yeah.
What is wrong
These
with
guys-
Rob Zombie?
these
What
guys-
the absolute fuck is
these
wrong
guys
with him?
are insane.
Why is this
It's horrible.
necessary?
No, and they're dope. They are
No.
no
beyond
sane
that.
person would
No.
do that.
Beyond
Skip
that.
this
Beyond
whole
that.
part
Beyond
if you
that.
don't want to encourage Rob Zombie ever again.
I told you this was gonna happen. Beyond
it
that.
doesn't matter.
No.
Sorry.
This is, like we're trying to say things. What you're talking about is also one of the things I hate about this. Why would you fucking do this? What the fuck is wrong with
It's
you?
bad. This is bad writing. This
It
is
is.
bad writing.
This is
And,
bad
and
rapist
the fact
logic.
that the studio changed it shows you that
That
not all
sometimes-
studio
no,
changes are
that's
bad.
Exactly. No, and
This is
that's
terrible.
okay. If we're gonna take a lesson away from the commentary and the director's cut, yes, this is a perfect example, kids, of what sometimes the sort of like enemy that look. There's a lot of mythology in Hollywood.
Sometimes directors are their own worst enemies.
Exactly. The producers are evil
Right.
and they do everything wrong, but that's not
That's
true.
not always
when they're
true.
willing to work with their creatives, sometimes it's all movies are made as a group. And I'm sorry, that scene was fucking reprehensibly, disgustingly unnecessary,
Horrible.
poorly written.
Yeah.
Badly, like, lazily written as a way to get this character
And those
out.
are ridiculous.
it
Those are ridiculous performances.
It
It feels like it's in there because he wanted to put a rape scene in.
Yes!
No,
And that's fucked up.
No,
That's
It
that-
is fucked up.
That looks like he was literally trying to just thumb his nose
Derek, you
at
may
the studio.
be cancelled for liking this movie.
No. Not the
No, but some people would argue, why do you even like it knowing that he made it? You know that I'm
Well,
giving you a hard time right now.
Yeah,
so
right.
just-
No, I mean,
I remember from the theatrical cut that it's more depressing.
Yeah.
Because Danny Trejo comes up to
Back
his
to his
cell,
cell, yeah.
and since he's the only person who's been nice to him,
Wow.
he kills Danny Trejo in cold blood.
Yeah.
that still happens.
But it's more. No, he's right.
But it's more messed up.
The
It is.
director's. This is worse. This diminishes. The
It
movie.
actually does kind of make the whole movie worse.
Yeah,
in
it
a
does.
way.
It absolutely 100% does. Because now the tragedy of, and also you could imply The
Like,
tragedy of him knowing that he's also leaving. So everyone that cares for him is leaving. This custodian, Dr. Loomis, they're gone.
Right.
But now that you've turned it into two fucking yokels being pieces of shit rapists,
And that's why
it totally takes away from any of the character
that's
work
why
that he just did for Michael.
That's why I don't really like the director's cut.
And
It's
yet
not
we're
just
watching it.
it's not just the fucked up. Well, we're watching it so that we can talk
about it. Yeah.
But it's not just that it's fucked up. It makes the story worse, and that makes it more fucked up.
Yeah.
Because why did you do it?
Yeah.
If it makes the story worse. And thank you, Dimension Films, for taking that shit out of there.
Yeah.
Harvey Weinstein
And
said,
putting in an
I know a
intentional-
rape scene.
And putting in an
and this is the most unbelievable
Wow.
rape scene I've ever seen in my life.
Wow.
And in the original, in the theatrical, he is being transferred and uses that opportunity to escape.
Yeah.
And that's way more interesting.
And that's also
Way
more
more interesting.
in keeping with the original.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Which in the original, like, we don't know what happened. They just pull up and the gate's open.
Yeah.
And they're like, who left the gate open? But yeah, I guess it's implied that Michael broke it or something. But
Rob Zombie, you are stupid.
He is so fucked up to this guy. Like, why does he kill him so much harder than everybody else? The one guy that was nice to him.
This isn't. It's.
Because he doesn't deserve
But
to be
it's
in this cruel world.
It also frankly is it narratively is. It conflicts with itself.
Yeah.
Because he just it's kind of like 1 second ago you were almost cheering Michael on for killing those guys for being rapists.
And he's like, but
now you're like, oh, now he's doing this horrible thing, and it's like it's incongruous. It doesn't like.
I think part of it is wanting to balance humanizing Michael Myers with keeping him like
a monster?
coldly psychopathic. Yeah, he has to be. I mean, he has to be a monster on some level. You can't completely humanize him. Then it becomes this like drama that no one wants to see. He still has to be a monster, and that's why he's so coldly unemotional, even to the people who are nice to him, who he knows.
Clint Howard with hair.
Yeah, I know, like.
Oh my god. What special effects magic is this?
Yeah.
What? That's.
No, I'm still marveling at how fucking unnecessary and gross that moment was.
Okay, so I really like
here we
the
go.
use of Tom
Here we
Sawyer
go.
here.
Here we go.
The
Tom
use of
Sawyer
Tom
is a
Sawyer here is fantastic.
great needle drop.
And
we get introduced to Joe Grizzly, bitch.
This was
one of my favorite parts of the
movie. This was my favorite kill in the original.
Yeah, well, yeah, this is good. This is a good one.
Because this is like, Michael gets his Superman costume now.
Right, and also this is the, like, this is the scene that shows how big and powerful Michael Myers is. Which, I know, again, a lot of people hate that they made him this Hulk, that to have that explain his power as opposed to it just being supernatural.
So speaking of his body, we haven't mentioned, so do you know who plays Michael Myers in this movie?
No.
The guy who played Sabretooth in X-Men 2000,
Oh!
Tyler Mane.
Tyler Mane!
Also,
this is what he went on to do. 6 sideburns, into the mustache.
Oh, my Ooh, I love Joe Grizzly, man.
And that's one great thing about Rob Zombie is he put so many horror icons in this movie, so that even the smallest.
Well, this guy was in both of the Firefly movies.
You can tell that Rob likes to go back to that sort of very grindhouse, grotesque, like over sexualized sort of thing.
Definitely.
It's just.
Oh. That's what his music is like too.
Do I need it?
Yeah, I mean.
Is there another way?
If you're not desensitized to it at some level, then it's too much.
Yeah. What's crazy is that I feel like Robert Rodriguez and Quentin Tarantino managed to do it better and more of a mix. That's what I'm saying.
Less sadistically.
There's more of a joy when they're making those stories. They find the joy in it even when it's horrible. And they have some pretty I would argue that in Grindhouse, the Kurt Russell one,
Stuntman Mike, Death Proof.
Death Proof. Death Proof has a pretty gnarly first kill.
Oh yeah.
And it's very hard, but
The
yet
tire to the face. Oh my god.
yeah, like that's gnarly. And then the murder of the girl that he takes
No,
on
this
the
one is
drive.
Rose McGowan.
Yeah.
Oh, is it?
When she gets, if you would
Yeah.
have said you turned left,
Yeah.
then we wouldn't have to be scared
Scared
right now.
That kill is what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah.
It's pretty gnarly, but yet it's like they managed to balance out the fun in it. So, and it's almost like Robert and Quentin kind of know
Yeah.
that even like, but you have to take Grindhouse but there was an element of fun in Grindhouse that I feel like Rob Zombie doesn't get. You get what I'm saying? Like he's way more in
It is
the
more mean.
spit like I spit on your
But
grave.
this is- I
He's
love
way
this.
more in the I spit on your grave elements of Grindhouse
yeah.
than he is on the
Right.
other sort of like elements of Grindhouse. And
Just
that element of Grindhouse is just so like full of violence in all forms, sexual, physical.
Which is going to be really interesting that this month he's putting out The Munsters on Netflix, and he has to make something
Grindhouse Monsters.
that has none of, like, it has to
Yeah.
be wholesome, it has to
Yeah.
be pure, it has to be...
You kind
There
of
he
wonder
goes, there
how
he
it's
goes.
gonna do it.
It's
got
gonna
the
be a
jumpsuit.
tightrope.
We
yeah,
got the jumpsuit.
We got the jumpsuit.
Love it.
But
I love that shit.
it's true. It's like he likes to lean into that.
He
and
really
like,
does revel in it.
and my thing is that it's not that. Like, I'm not into censorship. This is the story,
Right.
kind of story you want
No,
to tell.
it's just you don't
that,
like it.
do I want to watch this all the time?
Right.
No, I really don't.
Yeah.
And I also still feel like it's just...
Not that it's wrong for him to do it or wrong for people to watch it, but like
I'm not like,
it's just
that's what I'm
your
saying,
thing.
I'm not like gonna judge people for watching it.
Yeah.
I will criticize, like, like that moment in the prison was so fucking, it took away from your movie.
It took away.
And it's
You know
kind of
what
like,
would've been cool?
what, you know, if you want to do something just salaciously useless like that, then just make a salaciously useless Grindhouse movie just full
Right.
of bullshit. Make a revenge rape movie again. I don't know,
Yeah.
please don't, but like,
Yeah.
please don't.
Rapey McRevenge
Oh.
by Rob Zombie.
No thanks.
The beautiful Scout Taylor Compton.
It
my
would have
God.
been-
I had such a crush on her in this movie.
Yeah.
So this movie has the first Halloween that we saw where he killed, and now this is Halloween again. It would have been cool to see how Michael spent a Halloween in the asylum, you know what I mean?
I just always think it's so funny.
Yeah, what
like,
was he like on Halloween?
how
on the
does
anniversary?
anyone talk to their parents like this? Never in my life would I do that to my mother when I was a teen. In general,
And this is like
in
I don't know
general,
if this is supposed to be set in the 70s or the 90s
Yeah,
or
it's
whatever.
sort of like-
but it's in the past and like
Yeah.
even more so people wouldn't talk to their parents that way.
Yeah, it's kind of like an amorphous period between
I
is.
sideburns
see.
and now.
I see.
Right.
Well, I do see the hoodies and the long layers, so that's definitely like 2000s.
Yeah?
Yeah, but I feel
Yeah.
like the cars
No,
we've seen
the
have been,
cars,
like,
but the cars could just be the status of like their.
I think
Of the class of
I-
the town, like do they have older cars because they're middle class?
I think it's intentional about being not really set in any specific time. But like,
the
yeah,
clothing
the cars,
gives it away.
Yeah,
Like her clothing specifically,
yeah.
I remember that clothing from my teenage years. Like
Yeah.
that is 2000s Y2K fashion.
Yeah. And her glasses,
Yeah.
for sure.
So is this supposed to be the Jamie Lee Curtis character?
This is, yeah. Right. No,
Okay.
so now we're into, like, the original Halloween, basically.
They made her look.
And
alike.
yet there are certain, like, this scene, obviously, like, you know, there's scenes that are lifted straight from the
So-
original, and there are scenes that are
So obviously,
added.
Rob Zombie is biased towards small-breasted women. Okay? Because my Laurie Strode, she's got huge breasts. Okay?
You talk about Jamie Lee
What?
Curtis?
Yes!
Okay.
Of course I want Jamie Lee Curtis.
Huge breasts.
Does she?
She does!
They're like a nice medium-sized breast.
Yeah.
I've always thought she's
No.
got bigger breasts than Ripley. She's got the big boobs. She's got the biggest boobs in
In Hollywood, not in
who's
Hollywood.
got
See,
bigger
this is
A-list boobs than Jamie Lee
This
Curtis?
is another cool thing. This is like his original murder stuff that he stashed under the house. He comes back to get it, the mask, and with the music cue.
So
That
how
mask would fall
how
apart.
did he stash the mask? We didn't. So he stashed the mask before the cops got there.
Yeah.
And so the cops don't even know that he wore this mask.
No, they don't.
It's not even a part of his profile.
No.
It's not,
Yeah.
They know he wears masks, but they know he wears masks that he makes, right? They do a good job with this is probably my favorite Michael Myers mask. And I know that's ironic considering that I think that Leatherface's remake mask looks like Slipknot, and this totally also looks like Slipknot. But I love how like weathered and decrepit it is, and it's just like, I don't know. It's definitely part of that 2000s horror aesthetic, but I love it.
Oh, did you know this, T-Rock? The inclusion of the plot line about Michael Myers' early days at the mental asylum under the care of Sam Loomis is a nod to a plot line added in by John Carpenter for the television viewing of the original Halloween.
Really?
As told by Carpenter when the original film was first sold to television, they demanded added scenes to replace the edited portions of the murder scenes that were taken out.
Oh, wow.
So Carpenter recalled Donald Pleasance, the original Sam Loomis, and filmed scenes of him at the hospital taking care of Michael to fill this time.
Whoa, I did not know that.
Whoa.
Oh my god, I have an even bigger crush on on the left there.
The one with the most 90s, most 2000s
Yes,
bangs
exactly,
in the world?
yes, the scene hair.
The scene girl hair?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
It's
Oh
not
my God.
90s, baby. It's 2000s.
She is the same actress who played the girl in Halloween 4 who becomes the killer at the end.
Oh.
So she has a Halloween.
Played Jamie.
She's a Halloween legacy.
So she played Jamie.
Yeah, I think that's her name.
Because that's what they named Laurie Strode's daughter.
Oh yeah.
Who then becomes
right,
the killer.
Right. So yeah, she's got pedigree, Halloween pedigree, and she's so hot. Oh my god. They're all so hot. Like everyone in this movie, basically, but especially them three are like ridiculously hot.
So are Danny Trejo and
Another scene that's not in the theatrical.
Oh,
Udo
no.
Kier
and
here.
Malcolm McDowell yelling at
No
each other.
wonder this place is a shit show. Udo Kier's running this place. He only hires rapists.
Never a good time.
Yeah, like you stopped seeing him like yesterday.
Yeah, he's not really responsible at all. He wasn't there.
The way that he talks about him when he's not in the room. Just keep the monkey in the cage. Jesus.
Yeah, right.
So this portion of the film was mostly shot in South Pasadena, California, the same area where John Carpenter's original film was filmed.
Oh wow.
When Laurie notices
Yeah, you can kind of tell.
watching her and the girls at the library, Michael's actually standing in front of Laurie's house from the original film. Whoa.
Oh wow. Which scene?
When Michael first sees the girls leaving the library.
That line is directly lifted from the original. The 2 roadblocks and on all points bulletin. A lot of this dialogue is straight out of the original, actually.
Look, you and that army of shark tuckers up there.
I feel like Malcolm McDowell's eyebrows are doing a lot of acting here.
Yeah, they always do.
He's got them like slightly
Oh.
bushed.
There's no way a man could possibly walk 100 miles. That's crazy. There's no way he could possibly get a taxi. That is madness.
He would have to have really long legs that are strong.
Seriously, it's crazy.
I think, are they at the same school
Oh, wow, yes, Rob Zombie. That's exactly how teenage girls talk. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I remember from my youth when I talked about rocking my snatch. Thanks, Rob. Fucking idiots. God, he's an idiot.
I like her
So
slave.
you're saying Rob Zombie doesn't know about the
Yeah,
inner
I'm
workings of
saying
teenage
that
girls?
Rob Zombie doesn't know what the inner workings of teenage girls. Yes, that's what I'm fucking saying.
Next up, Rob Zombie's Babysitters Club.
Ha ha ha!
Oh
Oh my
my
god!
God.
Hey bitches! Oh my god! We're like girls, and we like to talk dirty, and we're like, oh my god.
I mean, you joke, but I've heard teenage girls.
Oh no, we can
talking
talk
kinda
super
like-
filthy, but look, yes, the slut thing, but like rock your snatch and what the fuck? No, sorry. Like, no, sorry. Just flash your vagina at him.
Yeah, again.
Yeah,
that's
is that guy watching you that's just standing
just
there?
standing there staring at you? Is he watching us?
Is that a weird man
Is
wearing
he
a
looking
mask
at me?
watching this?
Yes. All still very normal.
Totally. Normal.
I think it's beautiful. Rob Zombie literally put himself inside every one of these characters
Totally.
and said, "This is what I would say if I
If
saw,
I
I
was a teenage girl.
if I was a teenage girl and I saw Michael Myers standing like a perv on the street. That's what I'd say."
This giant human in a mask, I would definitely like antagonize him. Look, Grima Wormtongue.
Yay.
And Chucky.
and something else too.
On my way home. Anybody want to ride?
Chucky?
No, there was another movie he's in. What is it? Crap.
He's in a lot of movies, Derek.
Yeah, I know.
He's in,
Who?
Brad
Brad
Dourif.
Dourif? Yeah, he's in
Yeah.
a ton of movies.
he's in everything.
He's the voice of Chucky.
No, but like a movie that he's in live action, other than Lord of the Rings.
Other than Lord of the Rings.
It's another. I feel like it's another like.
He's done
sort of
several horror movies, so.
franchise type thing. But yeah.
One thing that this movie like automatically has going for it is it gets to use all this great music, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that's like
That-
free. That's like
It's
They
fr-
do. They
that's,
do.
that's like getting a curve on like your essay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
But
that's like
they-
3 points.
They do a good job of like not overdoing it, not like changing it too much, and make like one of the things I hate the most about the original Halloween 2 is how much it butchers that score. It's making it all 80s and like, you know, reverb and fucking synth and shit. I hated that about that movie. Like, just use the original stuff.
John Carpenter is such a unique composer that it feels like blasphemous to mess with his stuff.
Yeah, really. For
Like,
sure.
you either like his sound or you don't. That's it.
He's done like solo stuff, right? Like, I would be interested to hear.
I think he made the Shudder theme.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, and then he's done music, and he's done. I think he's composed like every one of his movies that he's ever like.
Well, not, but I mean like music, just music.
I don't know. I've never heard.
I
of
feel
him.
like he's done something. I know Danny Elfman.
When he did Big Trouble in Little China, they did a Big Trouble in Little China song,
Yeah.
Yeah.
which is called Big Trouble in Little China.
Yeah, it's right over here.
Yeah.
Oh,
And the lyrics are
Surprising.
Another
Big Trouble
in
Little China.
Wow, genius.
another horror icon coming up. The incomparable Sid Haig. Rest in peace.
I met Sid Haig once at a
Really?
at
I
a
love
horror
Sid Haig.
convention. He was very nice.
He's
And-
so normal in this movie compared to Rob Zombie's other movies.
He was like, Rob, I just want to be a dude.
Yeah, right.
Put me in sweatpants.
Poor woman, I guess she couldn't stand
I love
the
this.
stress of being labeled Satan's mother. I think she grew her fucking head.
I think I actually have
Still
signed
amazed.
a Sid Haig Devil's Rejects poster
Which are
somewhere.
those people-
Oh yeah.
And the doctor involved.
This
I think he wrote a book or something.
fucking blood money.
Masterpiece.
That book is a masterpiece.
It was a masterpiece. I wrote it. So egotistical.
There's definitely like a narcissistic streak in Sam Loomis in this movie, and even more so in the sequel.
Yeah.
He's like super, like, because now he's famous off of that
Oh.
book,
There-
and he's like really narcissistic.
There is a graveyard. This would have been a perfect movie for Graveyard Shift.
Oh, that's true, yeah.
Our day about
It
cemeteries
is.
and horror movies.
Yeah.
And
Fun stuff.
once again, Michael's up to his arts and crafts.
Trick or treat.
Arts and crafts.
This is also not in the theatrical. That trick or treat tag and I think the shot of Michael up on the balcony. Why
it's
would you
kind of
show
random.
that?
Why would you put a tag? Like, you weren't doing chapters before, Rob. Why are you randomly doing a chapter tag?
You know what it reminds me of? Have you ever watched Citizen Kane to the end, or do you just not finish it?
A long time ago. In a galaxy.
There's
far,
this
far away.
scene at the very end where there's literally just a shot of a bird going, "Wah!" And he literally said in an interview, he put it in to wake the audience up.
Oh, that's funny.
And see, this is like, so they're going to show him anyway. Why would you show him before?
That's why it's stupid.
Instead of, it's so much more interesting without that shot.
Passionate boating.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. Don't do that. Michael Myers is here. Stop having sex.
Yeah, man.
It would be cool if someone made a slasher who could, like, literally, like, perceive and, like, taste and smell in the air when people were having sex.
Ew!
Because that's basically what they're doing. Like,
Ew!
somehow he has some preternatural way
Oh,
to
look
be
in the
here
window,
when
look in
people
the
have
doorway.
sex.
Ew! Ew!
I'm not saying it's
Ew.
maybe he's a hot slasher. Maybe he's really hot.
Ew!
Maybe he's good looking.
I don't want to have
Maybe he's played by Adam Driver.
smell-o-vision. I don't care who's
Adam
playing
Driver.
it. I don't want smell-o-vision of people's fuck stank coming through the theater.
I never said it's smell-o-vision.
You did.
Oh, he said that the serial killer can smell.
Oh, I thought you said you wanted
No,
smell-o-vision.
But-
I never said that.
I thought that's what you said. I thought
now
you were being a
now
creep.
that we have 4DX, you could.
Nah, I'm good. I don't need to smell that.
Gooch grease.
Here you go, another one.
Ew.
Oh, another shot. I love that shot. So much great cinematography, and it's mirroring the massacre at the beginning, because then you see his feet.
That's kind of what's annoying to me, is that I feel like there's some really interesting cinematography in
He
this movie.
does-
And I almost wonder
yeah.
if it would have been more interesting if Rob had tried to, like, write his own story. But then I
Yeah.
almost wonder, like, would it have been worse? Because he would be unconstrained.
Honestly,
Like, if the constraints of Halloween making
Again,
him more focused.
Again, I'm telling you, the theatrical cut is much better.
Yeah.
Is much better.
And yet you chose this one.
And
And
yet
yet,
you chose
so
him.
that I could talk about why the original is much better.
I don't know why they don't think they could have talked about it during the other
During my so-called cheerleading and stuff. So I don't know, just kind of bumming me out.
Whoever listens to this is going to be like, there's tension in the room.
No, this is just what we're like.
You don't think that, do you?
I don't think it's that. Come on, it's ridiculous.
Oh, shit, I mean,
So far, if this movie's going for the Bechdel test, it's only managed to talk about women being sluts.
It's failed.
Like it's
All they
it's
do
like
is talk
almost
about
a,
having sex.
it's almost a Rob Zombie version of the Bechdel test, where two women can only have to say the word slut in every conversation with one another. Okay?
It's the Rob test.
Hey mom, stop being a slut with my
I also
cereal.
I also love that she's this upset about, like, the most, like, offhand mention of, oh, you're such a slut.
Yeah.
Like, it's not even, like, serious.
But she's a teenage girl,
Yeah, exactly.
so, like, that's actually more realistic that you would take that wrong. But,
I love this.
again,
Okay, check it out. It's a slasher movie.
yeah.
It's called Slut Slayer. Okay? And he
See
can
how the
smell
knife-
when someone becomes a
The
slut.
knife is so much further in and yet would never
How
reach
does one determine
the
one is a
wall
slut?
ever.
The Slut Slayer determines it when he smells it.
Okay, but how does he determine that? The minute you have sex, you're a
He
slut?
smells it.
So he's a
Here's,
misogynist.
Don't Fear the
He's
Reaper
a Slut
again.
Slayer, of course he is.
Okay.
More
He's-
Don't Fear the Reaper.
I'm good on that. I don't need
Tributes.
to,
He's black billed.
I don't need to watch that movie.
No.
I'm good on that. I don't need Slut Slayer.
This is one of the scenes I remember most from the original. Is him in that sheet with the glasses.
Yeah, that's the most iconic kill in 1978.
Yeah.
For sure.
And he's...
This is almost comical.
I know, they just stands there. He looks like one of the banana splits.
And he would smell so bad.
Bad.
Like, he would smell his
You would, yeah.
100-mile walking ass.
And do you also think that Michael was like a hygienic person in the psychiatric prison? Jesus Lord, her full coochie.
No.
Rob.
What if we put her merkin foreground?
She's not wearing a merkin.
What?
She's just got a landing strip.
I think that you think.
No, yes, I just saw it.
You have to wear a merkin.
No, you don't.
You
don't have to wear a merkin.
I think that's a rule. I think it is.
No, it's not a rule. You just can't. You have to hide it. I mean, well, it depends. You have to cut it.
Because you can't show any lips. That is not allowed in the MPA.
That's true. The NC-17. You're right, but I don't think it was a merkin. I think.
Well, this is unrated.
Unless.
But I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't see anything that wasn't in the theatrical.
Oh my God, bridal carry. They're gonna make out. No.
Yeah. I'm telling you.
But
You're right, man. The suppressed
that's the
sexual
psychosexual element of it. Yeah, and look at how he killed her. Did he stab her? No, he literally strangled her. Yeah.
Yeah. He's very sensual about his killing.
Yeah. This is how he
expresses where
all of
necessity.
himself. This is how he expresses all of himself. And when and the male killing is like more brutal, like it's more primal. Like it just, but with women it's very personal.
Here we have another character actor playing a gun salesman.
Yeah.
And as you can see, Rob Zombie just CC'd the same email to everyone and said "grow sideburns."
Right? He did. To confuse everyone on what year it is.
Because this might be the 70s.
Ew.
But it might be the 90s.
But it might be 2003.
Well, 2007 probably. It's interesting that this came out in 2007 and not 2008 when the 30th anniversary was. I wonder why. I guess it's just timing, like, well, I have time to do this project now.
And maybe maybe they wanted the DVD release to coincide with the 30th.
Yeah, that's true.
So then that way they could sell it.
Amateur.
So this year is the same year Trick or Treat came out.
That's
oh,
right.
Snap.
Straight to DVD. Same year The Mist was in theaters. Dead Silence. The Orphanage.
Oh, The Orphanage. I never saw that.
I Am Legend. 30 Days a Night. 28 Weeks Later.
Wow.
P2.
He has some dark stuff.
It's a pretty good year.
Not bad. And yet the crowning achievement remains Rob Zombie's Halloween.
Uh-huh. In Derek's mind.
Oh.
The theatrical cut.
Yeah, theatrical cut. Yeah.
In Derek.
Yeah, no, I love it. It's so good. It's the best movie ever.
The one thing that, like, the beauty of having so many different types of Halloweens is that we can, like, compare and contrast.
Well, and everyone
Like-
has their, their preference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, the way
Yeah,
that...
that's effective.
Yeah.
Throw-
Yeah, just throw things at him. I'm sure that will stop him.
Yeah, that's how we do it.
The way that this movie's color palette, kind of still is, like, colorful but still, like, saturated.
Yeah.
Saturated and dark.
There's a sepia tone to
Gives
a lot of
it a-
things that give it a Halloweeny orange
That gives it a
feel.
distinction.
Yeah. The gold of Halloween, the glowing light inside the jack-o'-lantern.
Like, I feel like
effect.
in the current Halloweens we have
Look,
now...
he is looking for someone in particular. And
Uh-huh.
it's interesting that he knows that that's her somehow. That's sort of almost a supernatural element. This kill is beautifully done.
So, like, in Halloween Kills, I feel like these houses...
He just snaps her neck back somehow.
Yeah.
Like the way the houses
You
are
said he's
lit...
strong.
Yeah, he's strong, yeah.
in Halloween Kills, the way the houses are lit and the way like the homes feel, it just feels like more homey. It feels like more warm. It feels more like safe, you know?
And suburban. Yeah.
Is the boogeyman real? Why are you so obsessed with the boogeyman, Tommy? Well,
Especially when they all start going out and like looking for him, and there's that aura, that like orange aura. And then the end, the scene in the circle with the flashing police lights on him and stuff, and the slow motion. She's a terrible babysitter. No, she's good.
It's Halloween.
Yeah. Everyone's entitled to one good scare.
Mm.
Oh, look, he's in the window.
Yay!
Oh, that would have been so much more effective if they didn't show this shot that confirms that he's in the window.
In the window, yeah.
There's a scene in the original Halloween that I realize now, if you only had it on VHS, you wouldn't have seen it. There's the scene in front of that store where he breaks in and gets the mask and stuff, and Loomis is talking to the officer, and you see Michael Myers in the car pull up like in the background, like way in the background, and then he like pulls around and like drives by, and it's super subtle. I didn't even notice it until like a few years ago.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
really
I've
good.
never noticed that.
Yeah. This is cool. It's just like this image. It's a little girl, so maybe he's like reminds him of his sister. Or he's looking at the, and that's the Thing from Another World on the TV. The original black and white.
Mm-hmm.
So
Which is good. I watched it last year. I like it.
he's so sneaky. He's a ninja.
He is. That's part of his thing.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. I said get your coat on. We're going over to your late night.
He's a ninja and he's unsmellable.
Yeah, right. He has smell masking properties somehow.
Like I'm telling you, he would stink.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry if I don't sound too concerned, but a dead coyote and a missing headstone doesn't prove anything.
A crucified coyote doesn't
Doesn't say that one.
doesn't seem like a
It's just
message.
a Halloween prank. See?
I feel that if an escaped serial murderer
Who's from here?
was within 300 miles of my town, I would be concerned.
And a crucified coyote showed up
I
in
would
his
be-
sister's grave.
Yeah, I would be concerned. I would be worried. I feel like we might have some roadblocks up.
Yeah,
I feel
maybe.
like we might be like a little freaked out.
Yeah.
This guy killed his entire family when he was like 7. Like, come on now.
This happens to make Chucky a sheriff, bro.
Yeah, see, stupid Chucky.
Perhaps I am. The kids in this movie are really good. Really good kid actors.
Oh my god, look at his
Whoa,
walk.
creepy stalking.
Damn saber-tooth ass motherfucker.
He kind of looked like he was doing the robot in that sequence. He was like,
You have to be
Must
careful when you open the
kill.
knife.
there's a really fun trend on TikTok where someone pretends to be Michael, and you're the person trying to get away from Michael, and they try to see if you can make it into your house before Michael catches up to you. And it's just Michael doing the walk, the purposeful walk. And it's actually it's one of the more effective things that I've seen to prove that, hey, Michael walking like that could actually be still scary, because, like, he can catch you.
Right.
Because, like, people, like, it's so funny to see people automatically freak out. Like, once they're being chased, it's like fight or flight takes over their brain. Yeah. And so, like, a lot of the people have to fumble with their house keys, and they're like, even though they know the person that's coming towards them is not going to hurt them, because they're playing this game, they've turned on the switch.
Right.
And a lot of people drop their keys. And so you're like, oh, snap. And then there's Michael just still coming towards you, like, walking. So
Yeah.
I think that they've been myth-busting that Michael couldn't catch you.
Right.
On TikTok.
Yeah, I saw that one, I think it's from TikTok, of the, like, what you don't see in a horror movie.
Yeah.
And it's him, like, running around in the backyard.
Really?
It's kind of weird because she kind of does look kind of like Sherry Moon Zombie.
Yeah.
You know?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah,
I can see
her being
if there was a familial
a
resemblance.
daughter, yeah. Hi, baby.
You have to stop thinking that we're dealing with a normal man here. We're dealing with a soulless killing machine driven by pure animal instinct.
His eyes are so evocative.
See, I don't know if that, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, Loomis now saying that he's soulless, like, the Loomis who is like this like shuckster who sells a book as opposed to like this harbinger who's been keeping this evil at bay for years. You know what I mean? It's such a different reading.
When I first met him, he was
Well, I mean, it's a little, I mean, he still is that harbinger to some extent,
nothing inside.
but yeah,
Like,
just having him have, like, written a book
Mm-hmm.
is kind of, yeah.
And it's just like, you know, like, there's no other, like, he's the only one who's profiting off of these murders here.
Yeah, right.
You know?
He's come back for his baby sister.
Like, this whole shitty family, like, ends up dead, and Dr. Loomis makes that check,
Right.
builds his career.
Yep.
Yeah, that's true.
And
And
then
they-
he's the hero?
They
Is that the
lean
hero?
into that a lot more in the second one,
It's not good.
where he's like, his book is now like a bestseller, and he's like gotten rich off of it, and you know. In this, there's still like some. You could make the argument of like, oh, he wrote this book to tell people
People of the war, yeah.
about this insane.
But once it takes off, yeah.
Once it takes off.
Well,
he
that's what's interesting is
becomes
that
this
that's
rock
actually
star.
a very real like phenomenon where some
Mhm.
people
Yeah.
they do write things or do things as a way to help, but then when they get that recognition, your brain
It goes to
changes.
their head, yeah.
Your brain changes and like you become the thing that you don't like.
Right.
You basically become too self-important.
I love the
Is this
the
the
answering,
theatrical version?
the
I don't
answer,
remember
yeah,
that.
yeah.
It is?
The
That's really creepy.
because I remember the answering machine message. I love that their little Happy Halloween. It's like really creepy when you see with the visuals of the massacre.
You need some closure on this topic. I've heard a lot about this. What do you want to know, Tommy?
She's so obsessed with the
Why
boogeyman.
do they attack you two? Don't I mean, it doesn't make sense. Is it because then you believe that you're protected by his powers?
Yeah, man, just like God.
It's nonsense.
Oh
Yeah.
no.
Avoiding the subject, clearly. She's scared.
What is he supposed to be for Halloween?
He's a skeleton.
Just like
He's like a skeleton priest or something?
He's just like a little skeleton boy. You know what's funny is that he kind of looks like Emilio from Coco. Is that his name?
Oh, yeah. I don't know. It's Emilio, maybe?
Is it his name? Hold on.
Like that?
Miguel.
Oh,
Wow,
shit.
that was way off.
I think his name is Emilio Estevez from Coco. I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, they're having sex.
See? He can smell it.
Time to die.
As soon as those pants start lowering, he starts creeping through the door.
Yeah.
Good lord.
He smells titty. Say it again. What? How is this dirty talk? It's so fucking.
Did he just light up her vagina?
Yeah, he's
I
talking about her
think that's the
vagina.
implication, huh?
That it's so fucking warm.
Boy.
Yeah.
Yes, someone's
Special
human.
boy.
Someone's human
They
body.
still don't see this giant hulking.
Right? They're too caught up.
They're
in
too,
this.
yeah.
Smell
The
it.
heat of passion.
Oh my god, there should be some sort of like Michael Myers challenge where you have to sneak up on your friends having sex,
But stink?
And
covered
then
in the
stab them.
stink of a 100-mile run, Alright? And see if they can smell you.
That sounds like a little bit too much for me. But I'll pass on that challenge.
Yeah,
Other
yeah.
people can do that if they want.
So this is why, apparently, they didn't want any other sequel, any other actors from the Halloween franchise.
Oh yeah.
But since she was on Nickelodeon
Oh, okay.
and she agreed to nudity,
They said, okay, sure.
she was allowed to be in this movie.
Wow.
Which, I don't know if that's a Weinstein move, or that's a zombie being a perv move, or what.
Let's remember
But she says at a con that those seem to be the key factors that got her in
that
the movie.
she wanted to put her...
That she was up to doing nudity.
Not wanted to, she was willing to do it. Yeah. I just think about how much, Sarah Michelle Gellar fought. And she was considered a scream queen. Sarah Michelle Gellar fought
Scraping
to, never
her
have to do
tits
that.
across that wood floor
Yeah,
looks
ow.
so painful.
Yeah, ow.
Compared to everything else in this movie.
Yeah, just don't drag boobs, that's wrong.
Yeah, what the fuck?
Sarah Michelle Gellar fought.
She fought to never, to not do nudity and to do movies her way.
Yeah.
And it was such a thing they wanted her to do. They wanted her to be
of
topless
course. She
so
was,
bad.
one of the most, fantasized
It's about, yeah.
young boy fantasies.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that if they had managed to get her to do a topless scene, that movie would have made $500
Broken
million.
the fucking record, yeah.
Her kissing, who was she kissing Cruel Intentions?
Selma Blair.
Selma Blair,
made that movie blow up.
That was before the internet and it broke
That's
the
the only
broke the
reason
internet,
I watched that movie.
Well,
that broke the real world.
let's have a
That was
conversation.
an interesting thing about the late 90s was there was oh my god, two girls are kissing in this movie.
Wild Things
We need to see
was
this
the
movie.
other one.
Oh my god.
Wild Things, I remember.
Because in the late 90s and early 2000s, we also had this thing that was called performative lesbianism, where girls would... And it's very confusing because as a bi girl, I'm looking back on it now and I'm seeing probably how many girls who ended up being bi or gay probably back in that time were doing these things thinking, haha, yeah, fun, whatever, and then they were but it's were you doing it for the male gaze, or were you doing it because you liked it, or but it's such a confusing thing because the truth of the matter is that we did do it in people did it in an audience. They did it to hee hee, look at us, wee.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And so
parties,
that,
yeah.
and that was considered oh shit, oh the kids.
Oh, it's a party now.
Yeah, exactly, and it was so fucked up because in a way there were probably girls like
This
me.
is dope. The fucking. Yeah, man.
There were girls like me who probably were just very confused by that whole situation.
Yeah. Right.
And so, again, patriarchy sucks and sexism is gross.
Yes.
And sexual objectification is bullshit.
And Wild Things.
But that's the thing, what's interesting
Those were
now...
those movies.
No, but what's interesting now is how many bi women and queer women have reclaimed those things. And now, on TikTok and stuff, or any social media app, they talk about how these were formative movies for them to watch, Denise Richards and them kiss. So it's good in a way. It's good for us because you get to reclaim it after time has passed, and it's not just for. But it was obviously made for the male gaze. You know what I mean? It's just that if we can appreciate it, we can reclaim it. It's okay.
And this is just
another. I love this
bleak as hell.
This is very bleak.
Animalistic moment of him just ooh.
Yeah.
Swing.
What happened to Lori? She
went to get help. She went to call the police.
She ran with the kids.
Bro, she's trying to warn you of things.
Uh-huh.
This is Brackett. What's the name for the emergency and who called it, Ann?
What were we talking about?
Oh, shit.
We were talking about performative...
Lesbianism, that's right, Wild Things. So, One of the travesties of Wild Things, because we tried to rewatch it a few years ago.
Oh, you did?
And
I don't know.
the problem with it is that they shot it in the late 90s, and like there's like some camera moves they do where like they're just like in one frame and just like moving around in one frame, and everything looks like so wonky and weird and like cheap. And like they thought it would work.
Yeah,
and it
they
doesn't.
were going for something stylistic because I think they were trying to go for like a thriller Hitchcocky-esque feeling. Like, but yeah, it was just not a good movie.
You know what movie that describes for me? That movie Unsane. That's shot entirely on a Steven Soderbergh. Shot it entirely on an iPhone.
Yeah.
And like the cinematography in that movie so does not fit the material. It's very quirky Steven Soderbergh-y.
Yeah.
And it really takes away from, like, I hated that movie because
I haven't seen it yet.
It's the material is really good about like a woman who's, you know, this typical like Rosemary's Baby type of like woman, only sane woman in an insane world who everybody is like gaslighting her basically. But the cinematography just killed it for me entirely.
So we're in the sweet spot here.
Whoa.
Yeah, this is
Michael's killed
several
over
people.
10 people.
Mid-massacre.
He's in pure chase.
And he's going to kill Lori.
Kids are getting straight up chased.
Honey, he saw you going.
I know, right? Like that. How the fuck?
He didn't like not know you did that.
That's just glass, bro. Like there's nothing between you and death in this situation.
You know what I'd like to see?
Well, this is the thing that truly, if you're scared of this, I mean, it's scary. Because, I mean, this could really happen to people.
Right.
This has happened to people.
Exactly.
Which is very terrifying.
So-
Which is maybe another reason why, like, I prefer the supernatural. Because I'm like, I don't feel like supernatural things don't happen. In my world, I believe in the supernatural, but supernatural things don't happen the way they do in movies. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so there's this kind of like blurring of reality when you have like slasher movies like this. And that's the thing too. The original Halloween is like scary, but this is just he's trying to go for such like gritty realism. Like you're really getting murdered. Like it's it's not my bag.
I hope that if we ever get another Halloween again, that you know we get some new types of cops. You know.
I think it's time to stop.
No.
Never.
You always get these cops in these jackets.
Whatever.
Yeah,
If
why are there always in these jackets?
Why isn't there a bike cop who comes in nice shorts?
If we ever get more Halloween movies, I just want them to be as different as possible from all the other horror Halloween movies.
So,
like get
the
fucking
continuation of Halloween 3, the franchise now.
Yeah, just take it in a completely like Last Jedi, that shit. Like just take it in a totally different direction.
This time Michael's the cop.
Ah! Ooh, they wouldn't like that.
Yeah, right.
They wouldn't like that.
Canceled. Okay, so here we go. He's not killing her.
He's not. He's just dragging her.
He's taking her somewhere.
Fun.
And this... Okay, also, by the way, we got another bridal carry.
That's, again, you have a sort of...
Like...
And the
elongated...
fact that she looks like, a little bit like his mom.
Mm-hmm.
They cast this actress to look a bit like Shona
An
Moon.
extended bridal carry all the way back
to their house.
House.
And crossing the threshold like they're married.
Right. Yeah.
Keeping it in the family, Michael!
This scene that's coming up is the reason why I love this movie. Because and this is why I don't understand when people say this adds nothing to the original. Because this doesn't happen in the original. He doesn't bring her back to their house and put her in this room, and we'll get to it, but it's totally new, and it's like it's the ultimate humanization moment for Michael Myers of like, he's still...
I don't fucking understand. This is a small town.
Is that
How
supposed to be
does
his
it
daughter?
take 45 minutes for you people to get here?
Is that supposed to be his daughter?
That is his daughter. That's
he
the
doesn't
sheriff's daughter.
He doesn't even take off his jacket to cover her bare tits?
He's a police officer. He may know that they need to just take her.
Yeah, but you...
Yes, I also...
The first inclination would usually be
Right.
towards
but maybe
modesty.
not. No, okay. What if it's just that she's so covered in blood he doesn't even notice that she's topless?
Oh.
Ha! Horror!
Yeah, right. It's bleak, man. It's
Bleak, bro.
Okay,
He's so in
here.
shock.
This scene.
I just think it's a little Rob Zombie brains.
Well, yes, but I also, yes, but I'm not going to get into the conversation about that. Like, the fact that, like, okay, if you want to get into the metaphor of it, it means that the father still actually sees his daughter as his little girl, okay? So he hasn't registered her as a sexual being. So, exactly. So, like, it's actually kind of a positive because he's not looking at it like, cover your modesty,
Right.
you slut. I'm serious, though.
My
Like,
first thought at my daughter stabbed
No,
and half naked in front of me
first
is
of
that
all,
she's been raped
yeah.
and stabbed.
Okay,
This
but
is crazy.
first of all, you don't have a daughter. Second of all, so you can only view this from your perspective as a non-father, okay? And what I'm saying is I actually register that as a moment of vulnerability where he literally sees her as a little girl. He does not register her nudity as sexual or something to be covered or to be shamed. She's literally bleeding out. And I get what you're saying. He'd want to comfort her by putting a blanket over her, but his actual comforting is they're going to help you soon. They're coming to help you. Like, meaning the emergency people are coming to help her.
So this scene, I love this scene.
I like how spooky he's made it. He's brought the tombstone.
And then like the dirt, he
He's
drops,
brought a pumpkin.
Yeah.
drops the knife.
Who is that? Who's on the floor?
That's her friend that he
Oh.
just killed, that he
Okay.
choked. Drops the knife, drops to his knees, pulls out this picture of them together as kids,
Oh.
and
fun.
shows it to her.
Mm.
And then slumps into a submissive position, you'll see in a second. And he doesn't know how to communicate. Like,
Yeah.
you can see this is all he knows how to, like...
But this is kind of what's interesting. It's like he was obviously verbal as a child, so like when did he forget to be verbal?
I mean, he was silent for 15 years.
Yeah.
Like, at some point, remember there was that scene where,
Yeah.
like, the switch clicks for the last time? He takes off
The mask.
the mask. I mean, that's a huge moment for Michael Myers. This is a
Yeah.
powerful scene. He shows her his face. He slumps into a submissive position and just is like, it's this moment of he still loves his baby sister.
So Rob's idea is that if he had been allowed to be home, if he had been allowed...
Maybe. I mean, I don't know if it's, like, directly that.
Yeah.
But, there is some element of being in that hospital fucked him up even more.
Yeah.
And I think as I've watched this a number of times throughout the years, and there she fucking tries to stab me, because she don't know what the fuck is going on. Like, that's a very logical response. I don't think anywhere throughout the movie you can really say for sure if he does ever try to kill her.
Yeah.
And they get into, in the second movie, they get into it becomes clear that this is a story about this family.
Mm-hmm.
About this family and his desire to reunite
I haven't seen the
his family.
second one.
There's things about it that are, like, I read an article not long ago about how Rob Zombie was trying to make this, like, psychedelic, almost giallo-like sequel, and I think the studio probably got in the way of that a little bit, so there's aspect... I mean, that might not be a bad thing.
I also understand the studio getting in the way of Rob Zombie sometimes.
Well, and the second one is much more, like, weird and much more psychedelic in the way that some of his other movies are. And if he had been able to go, or if he had had the foresight to go for, I don't know whose decision
Girl,
it
you
was.
ain't getting out of that fence.
But if he had gone all the way with
Yeah.
it could have been like a masterpiece.
Yeah.
You know? But it was just Halloween 2 but with some psychedelic shit, and it's all about, you know, him reuniting his family. With a very tragic ending.
See, this is I like this moment because it's really gritty because she has to crawl through all this shit.
Yeah.
I can like feel that sort of like scraping, pulling, ripping.
The decision for this to take place under the house so that they could have all that was pretty smart.
Like she has to crawl out of her own grave.
Right. Out of her friend's grave.
Yeah.
Also.
I know the way.
He's like, just use the storm door, stupid.
I like the absence of music in this moment.
Not enough modern movies utilize absence of music, and it bothers me.
And especially in a Halloween movie, that's kind of hard to do because you have this set of musical cues.
But
like John
Carpenter, the original, also understood how to use absence of music.
Literally making a Halloween movie, you have a toolbox of probably 4 or 5 of the greatest musical cues in cinema history. And there's all these different ones. Dun, dun, dun. That one.
But like, especially like nowadays, I feel like there is such an overemphasis in using sound all the time to manipulate people's emotions, which like I don't think it's like on the surface it's obviously not a bad thing. Like some of the greatest.
One of my biggest complaints was the movie The Last Exorcism, which is one of my favorite found footage movies. But the only complaint I have about that movie is that there's music.
Yeah, it's like
it's a found footage movie.
And I think that's why people appreciate the resurgence of found footage movies, because there's a lack of music, because it's not natural for music to be in a found footage film.
It's scarier.
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh, there should be a musical cue here.
Yeah, there's something telling me
that I'm scared.
Yeah. And it's like, no, you just have to like rely on the dread and the atmosphere to tell you that you're scared.
And when they do it, it like takes you out of the moment so much.
But I'm saying like even with like dramas and stuff, I feel like there's such a lack of like knowing when to turn down the dial of like using a cue.
How to use silence.
Like the 70s movies are so good, like. And that's what's
almost
crazy.
Out of necessity.
And it's like Rian Johnson did it in The Last Jedi. He used silence to emphasize the point.
Yes.
And it's one of the best moments. And look at how people freaked out. They were like, they thought the movie broke.
Yeah.
They had to tell people, the movie isn't broken.
Right.
This is an effect. But that shows you how much in modern big cinema, they do not utilize silence at all. It is just noise, more noise, music, noise, web. And whether the music is good or sweeping or powerful, it doesn't matter. The point is that it's just, you will never not know something is going on. Like, they will make the music tell you that things are going on.
And sometimes that's necessary. Sometimes if you don't do that, people won't
know what's going on.
What the cue is that you're trying to give them. You have to emphasize. Sometimes you can let people figure it out.
Yeah.
And use silence and, you know.
And it's a powerful moment. Yeah. Let's not talk about The Last Jedi right now.
I wish
The Last Jedi is amazing! Anyway,
I wish McDowell had put on weight for this movie, because I always like that, like,
to
Samuel,
be a little bit
like,
more,
Loomis is like a little
I don't think
chunky,
that Malcolm McDowell has ever been larger than this in his entire life. He is a svelte man, and he's been svelte like his whole career. He's never.
I mean, think about him in Clockwork Orange.
No, but he's never
half this size.
He's never gained weight. Like I mean, like that's what I'm saying. Any weight that he's gained was so minimal. He's always been a very svelte man.
Oh no! He's not dead. How did that happen?
How'd that happen?
He's immune to bullets.
Well, and like, remember the scene in the gun store? The guy said like, "This will blow something's head off."
Yeah.
And so those bullets are taking chunks
out of him.
So it's not unreasonable to assume that like shooting him 3 or 4 times with that gun would kill him. Oh, it's your fault?
Oh, okay, I'll blame you.
Oh yeah, good point, man. Fuck you. This is a great one. I love this fucking.
Does he kill Luna?
He's crushed. He doesn't. No, he's in the second one. Remember?
Oh, that's right.
So he doesn't kill him, but he does try to fucking crush
his
head.
Yeah.
And they don't do that thing they do in some Wii movies where he actually crushes his head. he just like starts bleeding from the eyes and shit. Like at the end of Mandy, remember the end of Mandy where he fucking crushes the guy's head? Which I love. I'm not ragging on it. But
No, I get what you're saying.
this is cool how he just like it's like a realistic version of that, where he just starts bleeding from all these orifices.
Damn, this girl's crawling in walls like a rat.
Yeah. There is a lot of Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake in this.
Definitely.
Crawling through the walls.
Definitely.
And, yeah.
But this is their version of the closet scene.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And that's so relatable too, like that idea. Like, would you be able to be completely silent in this situation and have?
There's
like,
no way of knowing. Like,
Yeah.
you know, you have to like actually be at risk of dying for you to know.
But then the way she portrays it, where she like gasps and then puts her hands over, like she knows she can't be quiet. She has to forcibly.
I actually, interestingly, have been in a slightly life or death situation more than once. And I remember, obviously not as close as other people, but like
nothing
for
like
instance,
this, obviously.
well, there was a shooting at the mall.
Oh yeah.
And I was there, and I was working, and they had to close the mall down.
Oh shit.
And they had robbed the ADT guys,
Oh.
and they killed him. And I saw people running, and we had to close down. I was working at Bath and Body Works, and we had to close down. And I remember everyone being very quiet.
Yeah.
And even when someone started crying out of fear, the crying was like
just,
subdued. It was like very like this sort of just sniffling. So it's like actually a lot of movies have people make noise. Your body goes into a response.
Yeah, right.
You shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
You become silent.
That's
And I remember, like, because we were the workers, I'm sitting there thinking about how am I going to get the customers out if we have to, because we couldn't go through the front, so I was like, we can go through the back, but then I was like, well, we don't know where the shooting is.
Yeah.
And so that was a very surreal moment for me, because I remember just being, like, going into this mode, even though literally I'm being paid $8 fucking an hour, but having to go into the mode of keeping customers calm, thinking of a plan, not knowing if my manager's going to know how to do anything, not knowing if we should wait for the cops, not knowing if it's going to get worse, if the shooting's going to come our way, or, you know what I mean? Like, not knowing if we should start hiding behind the counter. I was like, sit down. You know, they sat down, I was like, we should get down. They got down. And, like, it was, So, silence actually is a thing.
Right.
And unfortunately, a lot of Americans have experienced shooting, so it's actually a technique that they teach kids in schools to be quiet.
Man.
They teach them not to scream. They teach them not to make noise.
See that depressing shit that this movie brings out?
Yay!
Isn't it
fun?
great?
I think Michael Myers would be against school shooting.
I do too. I don't think he's pro that.
I think he'd be.
He's more hands-on.
Yeah, man. You use a gun. Why would
Like
you
a
do that?
pussy, bitch. It's like kill a person with your hands, man.
You don't want to kill your classmates with a gun. You want to beat them with a log.
Yeah.
Beat him with a log.
Unfortunately, for anyone who has that experience, you know that silence is actually something that comes to you quite naturally. But obviously, when you're running and running and being chased and I don't know, like at that point.
Right. Yeah, grab that gun.
He's kind of alive.
Yeah.
See, this is how I know it's early 2000s because that sweatshirt. Let me tell you, I saw that sweatshirt in high school. I saw that sweatshirt. I saw that sweatshirt. I wanted that sweatshirt as a teenage girl.
I don't think that's in the theatrical. And grabbing his leg like that.
Interference.
Interesting.
Holding.
Come on. Someone call the
on
ref.
the defense. 10 yards. I love this sequence where he grabs this fucking this giant like wood post or something, whatever it is. Oh, it's a 2x4.
So he's like, I'm just gonna beat you to death.
No, he's like.
I'm gonna find her.
Oh, he's gonna find her. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that might kill her, Mike. Just saying.
I think he's okay with that.
At
Well,
this
I don't know.
point,
I don't know. It doesn't.
He's made peace.
You can't tell
If she
he's-
dies, she dies.
if he's trying to kill her or if he's just trying to find her and grab her again. You know.
Like, if he really did forget that he killed everybody in his family, then from his perspective, the government just came one day,
Yeah.
ripped him from his family,
Yeah.
and
Who killed all these people? Oh my
his
god!
family's torn apart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it's
And he just wants to reunite them in
Yeah.
death.
so really he's just like a libertarian. You know?
Yeah.
We don't need
Personal
no-
freedom. For freedom.
My knife belongs where it goes. Sometimes
Who are you to tell my knife where to be free?
Oh.
Oh no!
Ouch.
That's not what you want.
Damn, she kept a hold on that gun.
Yeah, right? Like, fucking, I'm not letting go of this fucking gun.
I think her arm's broken though.
Is Myers like an Irish name?
Yeah.
I think so.
Why don't we do like
It's like Brian Myers.
let's do Halloween in Ireland
Oh shit.
with an Irish Michael Myers.
It can be traced back to Anglo-Saxon
Ah.
England. Myers derives from the Old English name mayor, meaning mayor or official in charge of legal matters. Myers may also mean physician from the Old French
shit.
word mire or marsh, from the Old Norse word myr.
So this is like
Spear?
he fucking. But he also, you'll see in a second, he turns so she falls on top of
Yeah.
him.
Meyer plural singular is an English, Dutch, German, and Jewish surname. So Meyer can be Jewish.
Oh, I want to see the
Jewish
version
Michael Myers.
where it's a Jewish family. Michael, oy vey, what have you done to this dog?
Yes, the Jewish
I'd like
stereotype
to
Michael
apologize
Myers.
to the Jewish community for everything that just fucking happened.
Oy vey from the Vunnica.
No, don't keep doing it.
Oh lord.
But yes, Myers, Irish and English, variant of Mayers, German, Dutch, and Jewish, Ashkenazic, patronymic from Mayer.
I also really
Compare
like this,
Myers.
this
So wow,
ending.
that's a very interesting last name. Has a lot of history.
This
From
is
a lot
a
of
cool,
different places.
This is a cool ending.
Sorry. Why
There's
did
an
she-
alternate ending that is also
Oh,
much
so
worse.
she does go to shoot him in the head.
Yeah.
But it's out of bullets?
Yeah, bro. Guns suck.
There we go.
She shoots him point blank in the face with a .357 Magnum, and he's back in the next movie. So there's still some supernatural
so
there.
inevitably he becomes. That's what I'm saying. Inevitably, Michael Myers comes supernatural once you
Yeah.
bring him back. Like it's it.
Yeah.
Like
And that's it. Directed by Rob Zombie.
all right.
Screenplay by Rob Zombie
And
also.
it sure was.
It sure was
sure
a film
was a
by
Rob
Rob
Zombie
Zombie. You actually do see him being way more obsessed with Texas Chainsaw, especially having her screaming at the end like that, like just going mad.
Yeah.
Like that's a very Texas Chainsaw
Bob and
ending.
Harvey Weinstein, producers.
You know?
Hey, Bob didn't rape anyone as far as we know. It was all Harvey.
What?
Dark times.
Yeah.
Dark times.
She's pretty close with him, I imagine.
Let's look. Listen.
Right,
Bob
we
is
don't-
not in prison,
No,
so
we
we
don't
cannot declare anything about Bob.
We don't know anything.
And in fact, from
music
what
by
I know,
Tyler Bates.
Bob had more of a hand in the horror movie dimension side of things
Oh, really?
Harvey.
than Harvey. Harvey was more into the prestige.
That makes
Pictures.
sense. That actually makes more sense
Yeah, it
to me
does.
because
Award-winning
Harvey
stuff.
always seems to be involved in the stuff that won Oscars and stuff.
Yeah.
What the heck was that?
I just scratched my butt.
Oh my god, I just heard the scariest sound. I was freaked out. I was like a rat crawling out from the
No,
wall.
that was me scratching my back.
Thank Happy Halloween!
It's a good movie, man.
I like this. I like this.
These home movies.
Home
Home
movie
movies,
footage
yeah.
in the movie. That's cool. Ken Forey and Danny Trejo, the only two people of color in the same card together. Way to go.
Good stuff.
Ba-na-na-na-na-na-na-na, this is a problematic film.
I mean, it's definitely.
But
It's about white trash people.
This is the problem, though. It's like
all his
can
movies.
you even argue at a horror movie is problematic? In its essence, a horror movie is a problem.
Yeah.
It's about a murder. It's about killing and
It's
death.
kind of like the TikTokers who went back in time and got mad at Metallica for being edgelords. You know, like
But it's also just like you get like horror movies are meant to explore dark parts of our psyche, and there's some storytelling that the whoever creates it. My thing is, I'm allowed to criticize it if I feel if it's fruitless.
Right.
But if this is something he feels he needed to say, all right, bro, I guess, like, live your life. Like, I don't have to agree with it. I really don't like the trend. The reason why I was talking earlier about, like, sexual violence and stuff is I don't like the trend that feels like it's something that needs to ban or stop.
Yeah.
And I don't think that that's the right atmosphere, the right answer to it. It's more like...
But it also needs to be criticized when it's not done, like, with care,
when it feels like it's just...
just for the sake of
needlessness. Like, it's a needless... Like, you're allowed to criticize that. But I feel like... Because... and this is coming... There's a really... There's a writer, a horror writer, that I, like, really like. And she's trans, and she talks a lot about how, like, she gets very anti... hold on, I want to make sure I quote her properly, because I don't want to.
Yeah.
I like the Mr. Sandman.
Gretchen Felker Martin is a horror writer.
This is a cool
I do like
version.
Gretchen Felker Martin is a horror writer, and she's trans, and she deals a lot with the idea of the grotesque.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, every one of my stories has sexual violence in it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how I tell my stories. And she gets very, like, offended at the concept of, like, censoring. She's like, well, she's the one who made me think, like, why are we so obsessed with the idea that sexual violence is so much worse to portray in storytelling than, like, physical violence or domestic abuse or any of the numerous ways human beings harm each other.
Right.
And she makes a very powerful point. Like, we hyper-focus on it. I think that's part of the problem is because so many of these stories are told through the male gaze, and they seem almost like they're meant to titillate us as much as, like, beyond, like, not even, like...
or even just provoke.
Yeah,
you know?
like...
Just, like, to put a graphic rape scene in a movie because it's going to make people uncomfortable.
Yeah.
You know?
And that's, like, and you ask yourself the question, like, it's... You know,
is it necessary to the story?
But it's also more just like whose voice are we speaking for at this point? Like, it's more like the critique is less censorship and more asking who should be telling these kinds of stories.
Right.
Who should be given the platform or the spotlight to tell the story about this. And that's kind of the thing. That's how I feel about it. And so, yeah. It's like with this felt very much like Rob Zombie and his male gaze of, haha, you know what would be really salacious and gross if this happened.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like it took away from his own story.
It took away from
It took away from any enjoyment of this movie, like, you know, because it just feels so unnecessary. And yeah, like it's completely no thanks. I don't need it, Rob, and I'm glad it was cut out of the
really
original
glad
cut.
that the theatrical version doesn't have that shit, because it's just it makes the movie worse, and it's a movie that I love, and you know I'll watch this one too, but I don't really watch it very much because the theatrical version, in my opinion, is head and shoulders better, just for those two scenes being switched out. And you know, there's some other extra stuff in there that I noticed this time around that also, like, I could do without. It's just a better movie.
Yeah,
it's
much tighter. I think that this just seems like this director cut just makes this movie longer, and that doesn't mean better. Longer in a movie doesn't mean better. Zachary Snyder.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry.
This is the first movie where Michael Myers talks in the 8 films that they had produced at this time.
Oh, wow.
This is the first time he
I'm
ever
sure that's
spoke a
another
word.
thing
That they didn't
that
like.
people hated about
Oh
this
yeah,
movie.
totally.
He should never speak.
Danielle Panabaker auditioned for the role of Laurie Strode, as well as Emma Stone.
Oh
Wow.
wow. I could see her doing
Emma
that.
Stone would be good Laurie Strode, yeah.
I
She's
like
got
Scott.
Emma Stone has those good eyes for like screaming and yelling, like horror. Like she's got those wide, like she
Yeah.
can make her eyes like super wide and scared. Like
Yeah, totally.
At one point, Dimension Studios considered making a crossover film featuring Pinhead from the Hellraiser series, which was at then owned by Miramax.
A Halloween.
Following the footsteps of Freddy vs. Jason, a poll was held on the official site for Pinhead versus Michael Myers.
That would be.
But
that would.
response from fans was negative.
Yeah, that doesn't
And
make
the
any sense.
studio dropped the concept.
A
Yeah.
BDSM torture dude
Yeah.
versus a fucking
boy.
slasher who will just stab him immediately.
That doesn't make any sense.
The thing is, you would have to.
They're not even in the same realm of like what they
Reality.
do to people. Like
Mm-mm.
he wouldn't be able to stab him, and torturing
Also,
Michael Myers wouldn't
Michael
work.
Myers, exactly, and Michael Myers kills innocent people.
Right.
In Hellraiser, one argues the people seek out Pinhead. You get what I'm saying?
Oh, absolutely.
You solve his puzzle. You ask the question. You get the answer. You may not like the answer,
Right.
but that's the answer you get. And it's a totally different.
It's the
Raison
cabin.
d'etre.
It's the cabin in the woods philosophy of like you have to
Choose.
You have to like read the Latin out loud to
Mhm.
summon this thing, and that's why it's justified.
Mm-hmm.
In this universe of moral ambiguity, that you die then at the
This-
hands of the thing you summoned.
This shouldn't be in the trivia. This is in the trivia on IMDb. Although this film is a remake that he directed, Rob Zombie himself, personally, does not like horror remakes.
Why would you put that?
How is that trivia? Who cares?
Yeah.
Oh my
He just
Lord.
sounds like an asshole.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
That's just like who would want to know that?
That's fun.
26 minutes are the difference between the theatrical release.
Really?
Oh no, wait, no.
No, it's like 11 minutes.
26 minutes were trimmed from the film for its theatrical release in Brazil,
Oh.
so that it could get a better rating.
Wow.
So that was too much for Brazil.
Damn.
In the end, it received a rating of 14 years old. Kids who are over 14 can watch it without parental supervision. Whoa.
So that's like basically like pretty close to like PG-13.
The first trailer for this film, it's funny that you should say, you talked about Grindhouse. The first trailer was shown with Grindhouse,
Oh, there you go.
which had come out, I think, April of that year.
Well, yeah, because another Weinstein.
Yep.
Remember when that used to be like a fun thing? Brought to you by our friends at the Weinstein Company. Now it's
Because
like,
it was like every movie had that before
I
it.
know.
You know?
Tyler Mane once wrestled for WCW
No way.
Yeah, he did.
under the name Big Sky.
Big Sky.
I thought you knew he was a wrestler.
I've never heard of him wrestling
That's
before
a
in my life.
terrible. That's a terrible wrestler name.
Big Sky. John Hurt was in consideration for the role of Dr. Samuel Loomis.
Oh, that would have been cool.
I feel like he would have been a little too old.
Yeah, I was just gonna say they wouldn't have been able to young him up at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah, but
The
put
way
on
they did.
a wig.
I mean, even with Malcolm McDowell, it didn't really work. But with John Hurt, it really wouldn't have worked.
This is insane. Oliver Stone was rumored to be attached to this project
What?
before he decided to make World Trade Center.
Oh my God.
I don't want to make Halloween anymore.
That's
I want to
quite
make
a
World Trade
pivot.
Center.
Yes, sir.
That's a pivot.
That's crazy.
Man, 9/11 changed a lot of people.
Yeah.
I keep thinking about this creepy story, but I'm not sure if I should like say it on air, because I don't want to feel like I'm stigmatizing psychopathy. But
But it's Halloween.
But it's pretty disturbing. No, and it reminded me of the moment in the beginning of the movie where Michael's kind of like, I don't know what you're talking about. I didn't do anything wrong. I didn't do anything wrong. There's on YouTube, there's, and I want to preface this. I am mentally ill. I am not trying to stigmatize mental illness. I understand that psychopathy is highly stigmatized and that there are many people who have sociopathy and psychopathy and are living normal human lives, not hurting people, not hurting animals. I understand that it's a very misunderstood thing, but like this story was really kind of disturbing because it was a testimonial from someone diagnosed with one of these disorders, and they were interviewing her, and it was a woman, and they were interviewing her, and she was like, and they asked her, like, did you ever hurt animals? She's like, I don't know why, blah, 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 talking about how, like, I never hurt animals or anything, etc. I was like, well, one time there was this possum, and it had, like, fallen in a pool, and I, like, saw it, and I was like, oh, it fell in the pool, and I just sort of, like, watched it in the pool, and then I was kind of like, oh, you know, yeah, I should, like, do something about it. And so I got, like, the pool stick, and I tried to, like, push it under the water, and it, like, wouldn't, like, go under. And so eventually I just got kind of bored, and I left it there, and I left. And she told this story, like,
So matter of fact.
like, she didn't do anything wrong. Like, when they asked her, have you hurt animals? She told that story, like, no, I just, you know, one time I tried to drown a possum.
Yeah, right.
And it, like, chilled me to my core. Because it takes you a second. Because when I first watched the video, you're almost like, you get sucked in by her, and you're almost like, yeah, that doesn't sound too bad. But then when you, like, turn it off, and, like, see, I'm telling it to you, so I can emphasize. So that's the thing. She had no emphasis in her storytelling of that moment. So she's telling the story like you would ask someone, what you have for breakfast? Oh, you know, I had scrambled eggs and I had to, like, that was literally the tone of her story. So when you first hear it, she's her saying it, you're like, huh? But then when you start to process, you're like, oh my God, she was trying to drown an animal in a pool instead of, like, helping it get out. And then she didn't even help it get out. She left it there to fend for itself and walked away because it was boring. Yeah, that's fucking creepy, guys. So, like, I understand why horror movies have a tendency to use pathologies like that. Oh, geez, that was timely as I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Pathologies like that too, but it's so.
It's kind of dangerous.
It is dangerous because it's. You know, I don't, like, obviously, if this woman is talking to someone, maybe she's getting help. Maybe she recognizes she has this issue and she's trying to do something about it. I don't want to stigmatize her, but at the same time, it's kind of like, it is sort of disturbing to know that somebody would think like that and to this day tell that story like, it's a Tuesday.
This thing I did.
And if you have to wonder, like, if someone was like, hey, you know, that's fucked up, right? Would she register that, or would she go, oh, they think it's fucked up, so now I know that it's fucked up because they said it's fucked up, not because she recognizes it as fucked up. It's because someone else told her. But maybe sometimes that's the only way. Socialization is the only way we learn about what is and isn't acceptable sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, and psychopaths and sociopaths are sort of notoriously adept at mimicking human emotions oftentimes.
Yeah, anyway, that was a very scary, I'm not going to post the link because I don't want to, like, people to go on there and be like, this creepy ass bitch, like, I'm not gonna, I don't want to do that, but I just was thinking about it in particular with the scene where he's talking to Michael and the way Michael denies this, like, anything could be wrong. That's what was making me think about it. That he may not even know, you know, like,
that the switch flips and he becomes a totally different person with a totally different memory and thought processes. And then at some point the switch flips forever. But then, like, all the way at the end there, the switch kind of flips back for a minute, and you're like, oh shit, there is something human in there at this point, and that to me I find very compelling about this movie.
Yeah.
And that's why I love it so much. That like 1 second of like, oh my god, he still loves his baby sister, and like maybe he's like in a weird way trying to protect her from everyone he's killed so far.
But I
or
guess
like
that's my defense of like why I could understand like, you know, I could see liking this movie.
Yeah.
I could see liking that aspect of it because
and I can see not liking this movie.
yeah, because there are very like human elements to it that make it disturbing, that do have elements of reality to them.
Right.
That like, you know, the truth is stranger than any fiction can be. So
Yeah, for sure. Happy Halloween, everybody!
Whee!
Thank you for telling us a scary story.
Yeah.
I'm very sorry, that was a scary story, huh?
No, that's right. Rob took it out of you.
Yeah, right. Like, that brought some stuff out.
That's what he does.
He did bring it out.
Any final thoughts, D-Rock?
Final thoughts, yeah, I mean, again, like, I can definitely understand the reasons why people don't like this movie, and definitely respect and consider those reasons all completely valid, and, like, yeah, I get it. I get why people don't like this movie. I love this movie. I watch it every Halloween as my Halloween tradition. And just that humanization, and there's, you know, just all the stuff that I've, you know, talked about this whole time
For several hours.
for several hours now. Yes, I love it. It's one of my all-time top 5 favorite, not best, definitely not one of the best horror movies. I would say, like, I wouldn't even put in like top 100 best horror movies, but definitely gets an undeserved amount of hate in my opinion, and has some stuff in there that I think people haven't really caught when they're watching it, because they're not watching it on that sort of level of like thinking about, you know, the character study aspect of it, and the humanization and all of that. And so I think it gets unfairly maligned, and I think the reasons that a lot of people hate it are still definitely valid, and I understand why. And I just love it.
I think the major, to take away with something productive to say about mental illness and psychopathy and this movie. One, I understand from watching it now why Derek enjoys it. I see, except for that thing, but I understand why you don't like the thing.
I don't like that.
But we talked about that. But I
Yeah.
understand why you like it, and I do. Rewatching it, I did really enjoy the cinematography of it. I
Yeah.
think that it had some beautiful imagery, and I do think that's one of Rob's strengths is his cinematography.
For sure.
But, you know, leaning into the whole stigmatization of mental illness, I think one thing we should take away as a positive to not stigmatize psychopathy is treatable.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of stigmas in films like these that there is no helping these people.
Right.
He's soulless.
He's soulless,
Right.
he's a demon, he's a devil, and that's not true.
And
because
this movie shows that that's not true.
It's true.
In parts.
In parts. It doesn't lean all the way into
Right.
that, because at the end of the day it still has to be a Michael Myers serial killer
he
movie.
still has to be a monster.
But I see why you enjoy that, because it get the aspect of like, oh, okay, this is a human person. Maybe there was a path for Michael that wasn't this path.
And that's the thing, that's the reason why I don't understand people who say it added nothing to the original. Like, it adds a ton. It's just
that people
stuff
don't want that.
like.
Exactly, they don't want what it added. But psychopathy is treatable. Psychopathy is not an incurable thing.
Mm-hmm.
It is hard. It does, you know, it's a difficult, a lot of mental illnesses is difficult, but it is not impossible to treat. You can have it and live a life, a productive life with people that you love. You can be a member of society that is not stigmatized. And so movies like this, remember movies like this that turn psychopaths into these soulless killing machines, that's not the reality of the world.
I also, I believe in, you know, the scientific aspect of this, that psychopathy isn't technically a mental illness, it's a behavioral disorder, I think is what it is classified as. So it's not even the same thing as mental illnesses.
It's very misunderstood, and so to put something positive on it, don't listen to my my story and the movie and like take it as we're talking about this idea versus this idea is very different, and you can like all mental like health issues, you can get treatment, you can get help.
Exactly.
It is a thing.
And not all mental health facilities are like the ones depicted for Rob Zombie's Halloween.
No, definitely not.
No, right, yeah. That trope is just so overdone in the sense of doing it too much, and also overdone in the sense of it's always so over the top. Like, there were places like that.
No, and there
long
is,
time ago,
unfortunate, there is institutional abuse, absolutely, but if all you ever do is show that,
yeah,
it makes it very difficult to
it's
reform any issues with
Yeah,
institutions, because it's like everyone only sees, these places are terrible, and
Right.
And I feel like my biggest problem, or like my biggest, like the place where like the Rob Zombie film just like doesn't connect for me, is that like nothing's ever good, you know what I mean? So there's nothing that like Michael Myers is really taking away. Like everything is pretty horrible.
Yeah, right.
Everywhere he goes, so
Yeah.
there's never like a nice thing that he's
Yeah.
really ruining.
That's true.
You know what I mean?
Everything in this universe feels sort of grim.
Like,
It's interesting too, like the fact that that's true, and yet in that moment at the end of the movie, there's still this like small glimmer of light coming from within him to like try to reunite with his sister.
One could always argue too that like, okay, if you're looking at the movie, Laurie escaped that crappy situation, right? Like, yes, through the actions of her brother who murdered everyone,
Yeah.
but
and her mother's
suicide
Yeah.
because of a result of her brother murdering everyone. But it managed to give her a better life, one in which she does not remember the trauma of her past.
Mhm.
And so it's very sad. If that was Michael's gift to her on Halloween, it's kind of sad that he ruined it.
again.
Because he took
And
away...
she, in the second movie...
Because she could have lived a different life, completely unaware of everything that happened, and he wouldn't allow her to have that.
In the second movie, there's a huge plot thread of her dealing with the PTSD of that night.
Mm-hmm.
And she it, like, fucks up her life.
Yeah.
So, like, it really does.
Yeah.
You know, like, and they show that.
And that's what I'm saying, like, she escaped. And whether, that could have been something awful that turned into something positive, but he took that away from her.
Yeah.
And maybe because he himself is unable to escape that moment, that piece of himself, he was never able to overcome that.
It's a deep movie, man.
It's deep.
It's deep, bro.
My final thought is that I think I would rank this, like, if I was going to rank all the Halloween movies to watch, this would be, like, in, like, the 5th or 6th position, which is still pretty good.
Yeah.
Behind,
There's
how
some
many
really bad
movies there
Halloween
are.
movies, guys.
behind, like, 2018, the original 3,
Yeah, those are all ones that would...
4 maybe?
I wouldn't put 2018 above it. I would put Halloween Kills above
Halloween
it.
Kills.
I'd put the original Halloween. I'd put Halloween 2 maybe
The
above
original
it
Halloween
somewhere.
2? I mean, obviously.
The original Halloween 2, yes,
Yeah.
is what I mean.
I like this better than the original Halloween
and
2.
of
I like
course
the Halloween 2, but I like this better. Halloween 4 would definitely be up there for me. I was surprised how good that one was.
Yeah, that one just didn't connect with me when I watched it.
Halloween 5 is
Joe Bob.
ridiculous and dumb. And Loomis is just, like, a crazy old man yelling at everybody.
I still haven't seen Halloween 6, and that one I'm pretty hyped to watch. That one
This
has
one with
Paul
Paul
Rudd,
Rudd, right? Yeah.
So I feel like that one could be special.
Yeah.
We'll see. Remember, tweet us at Vundacast, tweet us at Vundablog. Thank you so much for joining us for Vunda Halloween-a-thon. I have been your host, Stephen.
I have been your non-binary world champion, D-Rock, the day of days.
And I have been your problematic cohortress.
You're not problematic. You solved everything. What are
I
you
solved
talking about?
everything.
All these places we were gonna...
We are so canceled.
We're gonna get canceled. You saved us from cancellation. And remember, kids, you shouldn't murder your whole family on Halloween.
Yeah. Save it till New Year's. It's less cliche. What?
Or Thanksgiving.
Trick or treat.
Hail Thunder. Hail Thunder.
Wundercast? Give it up for Wundercast, man. What an adorable name.
You're listening to the Wundercast.
What's up, everybody? This is Jason David Frank, Green Ranger. You're listening to Wundercast.
Check it out. Open your ears to the @Wundercast and check out hashtag #VundaHalloweenathon. That's @Wundercast, VUNDACAST, and I'm Effie, EFFY, electric, fantastic, and fuck you.
Subscribe to the Wundercast.